Semitic Allah Bernadine tells us was a black God represented by a black bull whose hide denoted his black skin.
Here's the picture that he showed on the screen. It's a deity El, the god El. Pay attention to the crown or the headdress, if you will. This is a picture from the front of the same statue, a little closer, and a little bit from the side here. Now, this headdress is actually the Atef crown. If you go on Webster's online dictionary, that's what it says. Atef is the specific feathered white crown of the Egyptian deity Osiris. It combines the head jet, the crown of Upper Egypt, with red ostrich feather for the Osiris cult. The Atef crown identifies Osiris in ancient Egyptian painting. If you go to Webster's dictionary, Merriam-Webster, it says Atef, hold on, a tall crown with a long feather on each side, shown in the art of ancient Upper Egypt as worn by Osiris. Okay? Here you can see Osar or Osiris with the Atef crown. This is from the Papyrus of Nebket. It's actually in the Louvre Museum, and you can see me filming that papyrus on the video entitled Reality Check. Why black people ain't going nowhere. But you might as well put Afro Style Reality Check, it's gonna come up. And in here it's also from the Louvre Museum. You have Osiris in the middle with the Atef crown, and the description for it, if you go on the website of the Louvre Museum and you type Royal and Divine Triad, you can do a search and you will see they mention that he is actually wearing the Atef crown. Now finally you can compare the crowns. Okay, first you have the god of the Arabized Negroes, which first is El, but somehow some way becomes Allah, but that's up to y'all, that's up to the doctor. And then you have the one that I showed you, Osiris. Then again from the front compared with another statue of Osiris, and then finally the same statue from another angle.
Biblical King's Seal discovered in dump site. This is the royal seal of the King Hezekiah, and here we have an Ankh. And finally, last but not least, you need to see it to believe it. The God of the Bible, El, slept in his own dung and urine. This is Ugaritic Narrative Poetry, page 195. And we also have this book here, the Masria in the Prophetic Literature, where it clearly says that El floundered in his own feces and urine. Hotep Senuhena Senutiti, Red Ishakanugukemet. I hope you're doing well. Let me check the sound first. It sounds good. We have Donnie Williams in the place to be, and Brother Lionel just entered the panel. Greetings, brother. Feel free to speak.
What's up, brother? How you doing today?
I'm chilling. How about yourself?
Oh man, I'm happy that the ancestors woke me up this morning.
All right. That's what's up.
Yeah, man, I've been thinking, man. I want to ask you this question.
Mhm.
So, what made you want to start learning about Egyptian culture or the Medu Neter, which, from what I've heard, you're really good at?
Mhm. Well, I grew up in a Christian family, and I always loved history. And as I look for history for the Bible, it was strange to me, but the more I will learn, the more I will realize that it's not historical. And Egypt plays a big part in the biblical history because we have the narrative of the Exodus story. And it took time, but I actually realized that we have a lot of records for Egypt. And in antiquity, the Egyptian civilization is probably one of the civilization for which we have the most records. And I mean clear records when we know for sure what they were talking about. So I realized that the Exodus story was fake, fictional. I realized that the ancient Egyptian or Kemet was a great civilization, a good civilization. Ma'at, truth, justice, order, uh, was what people strive to attain. And I also learned that it was greatly advanced technological. It had a great technological advancement, and the pyramids, the great pyramids of the Giza Plateau, is a testimony to that. But there's many other things that indicates that they had a very advanced knowledge. The mummification also is an attestation to that. So, in a nutshell, I was interested with this great African civilization. And when you're interested in something, then sometimes you want to learn the language. Like so many brothers, when they get into a relationship with a lady and she happens to be from another background, a lot of time we tend to learn the language, or at least enough to say a thing or two.
Hmm. I hear what you're saying. I got another question for you.
Feel free, brother.
You said that you grew up in a Christian household.
Yes.
Now, that seems kind of strange to me because I thought a lot of y'all Haitians are Catholic, right?
Hmm.
I mean, at least that's what I thought. So,
Well, the majority will be labeled Catholic, but you know, Christians and Catholic, they don't have much. To me, I see like a Sunni Muslim and a Shia Muslim or Sufi Muslim. Um, so that still falls under Christianity. I would say, Catholicism. But it's true. If people will look for figures about the religious background of most Haitians, people would say Catholic.
yeah. Are you is your family like a part of that maroon background or not?
Which background?
Like the maroon background, like
Oh, I don't think there's any way for us to know. Maybe some people will say, okay, I descend from the Maroons, but I don't think many people would know for sure. So not to my knowledge, no. Not to
because
my knowledge.
I know my professor, well, my former professor, his whole family come from I forget, but he said his family come from the mountains up there. So like I'm guessing that's like that's probably like the maroon background right there.
Mm. Okay. Oh, when you asked me, I thought you meant like the Maroon of the Revolution.
Yeah.
But yeah. Um, I mean, you will have some people, will consider Maroons who basically left the plantation and live independently, in some remote areas. And then, a lot of time when I think about Maroons, especially for Haiti, I think about those who actually took part in the revolution, those who ended slavery in 1804. It was ended before, but uh, Napoleon restored slavery, so they had to fight again to abolish it once and for all. But not to my knowledge. I wouldn't say that. I think my family would have told me it's something to be very proud of. You know,
Hmm, that's interesting. I got another question for you.
different, different.
So I know within the Antilles, right, there is like still a huge like colorism problem down there. Is that like still prevalent?
Well, I'm not really aware of that. I Maybe you have colorism everywhere. Um, but I wouldn't really say it's like a big problem. Uh, well, not in the West Indies, but yeah. But I'm surprised. I thought in English people said West Indies
Well, I
or
mean,
Caribbean.
I'm using Antilles because that's what Prince Bernard used in Black Skin, White Mask. I be trying to, I don't know how to explain it, but I be trying to catch
Mhm.
people off guard with my language sometimes.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was up to the translator. Um, but then again, maybe some people use that term. Actually, in French, we call it Antilles. When you have the double L, it's pronounced like a Y. It's like we say Cadillac, but you say Cadillac. So the double L in French is that's the way it's pronounced. So we would say Antilles.
Auntie.
But I understood when you say Antilles. I understood what you meant. Mhm.
So, hmm, what's another question I got for you? What made you get into Muay Thai, man?
Muay Thai. Oh well, honestly, uh, I always wanted to practice a martial art, but my life was what it was, and I guess I kicked it more with the books and the information. But when I separated from the mother of my child, she would stop me from seeing him, and I needed to, focus on something to keep me from doing something crazy because a lot of bad thoughts came into my mind because she was doing that on purpose, and it was very annoying. At first, I was like, okay, I left her, she's bitter, so it's gonna pass, but she kept going, and so I would say that's one of the main reason I did that because I really not needed some to there's some vocabulary sometimes that I like in English, but a way to exteriorize. I don't know if that's a word, exteriorize, but a way to hmm,
Yeah, just get put
come
your anger word to something
well,
productive.
you see, I didn't want to use the word anger, but I guess you could use it. But yeah, some way to let it out, to let the steam out. You see, and it was great because I would have done something crazy. Now, unfortunately, she abducted him. She went. She's in Africa. I don't even know the address. I don't know anything. I haven't seen him since August, and she left to Africa in November. I don't even know how long she was there. I know that the authorities here are not going to look for him. So maybe I will see him when he'll be like 16, 17, 18, and you know, that's life. That's
Oh
life. But yeah,
man,
that's the main reason.
sorry to hear that. I be hearing stuff like that be happening like over, in the states and stuff. I didn't know it was like that too, man. Ooh, man. Um, so how long did you do Muay Thai?
Good 3 years, at least 3 years.
What made you stop doing it?
Children. Having my second child, I relocated, so I was far away from my gym. Didn't really want to go to a different gym. I had some injury as well, so it's a combination of all those things.
Man, what
And
somebody kick you in your leg and it was just, oh, I'm done, I'm done.
no, it wasn't like that, but and then also, I was more into the live streaming. I mean, ever since my I think it was before my or maybe when she was born, I was live streaming on a very regular basis, and I kept the habit. So yeah. And plus, I was getting old. I started late. I started the martial arts late. So now I'm in my 40s. So I
Like, are
mean
you like,
I'm 40. So
oh,
I've done my time. I want a few things.
you don't want to, oh, really? And I think you should honestly try to keep doing it, at least to keep yourself
Well,
in shape if you
hold
don't
on,
mind.
hold on, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me put the volume up. Yeah, come again, please.
I think that you should honestly keep doing it at least to keep yourself in shape, man. You know, especially with the skills that you know. I mean, you know how it is. We know how it is. You
Uh, I,
see what
I,
I'm saying?
well, I didn't really get you. You said I should do it just to keep in shape.
Yeah,
Well, a bag would be enough. Punching bag would be enough. And I'm gonna try to go back to the gym, and if I have a bag, I can But practicing it with people, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of past a certain stage. Like it's kind of behind me a little bit, and it was great. It was great, but I have my studies in my mind mentally. But yeah, it's good to be in shape because you never know. You never know. Some people, you never know. But yeah. I can't
man.
do it all. I cannot be Bruce Lee and Imhotep at the same time.
I mean, like with me, I do 50. I got a strength and conditioning coach,
Hmm.
and I do 50 push-ups, 3 days for 3 days straight, and then 1 day off, and I just keep doing it. So like, I'm doing all calisthenics, man.
Hmm. Yeah, it's great to be in shape. It's a very good, important things. Um, it helps release the toxin. Some people just don't practice any sport at all. Uh, and on top of that, they have bad eating habits and they consume alcohol, drug, and all kind of things. So yeah, it's very good. It's very good to be in shape. I think it helps the mind a lot. You know.
Back in the day when you were like in school, were you like the only black person down at your school or something, or it was a
No,
few?
no. When I went to school, there will be like like pourquoi, pourquoi? Okay. There were actually more people of foreign background. Um. So no, I wasn't like the only black person.
So it was like a few Africans that was up there, and a few Haitians. Cause
Well,
I
it
do
would it, it, it would be a few white people, and the rest would be like African, West Indian, and of course Berbers or Arabs, like some people call them. There are a lot of Berbers here. So when I hear people talking about the Moors in Morocco, it makes me laugh because Algerians, Moroccans, Tunisians, they're white skin, like really. Some people don't know that we have white skin people in Africa, in North Africa.
Yeah, and even to get into like a little bit of history on that, one of their queens, Dahina, was a Jewish priestess.
Well, there's a few Jewish people in the Maghreb. They're called Sephardic Jews. I think that's how you call it in English. In French, we say Sepharad, but it's kind of the same word in different languages. Uh, but initially, they were not dealing with Islam. They got conquered. They were put in the chokehold, and that's it. But a few people still follow their traditional ways, but not so many. Not so many.
Yeah, that's the crazy part about religious expansion.
Yeah.
The old ways tend to go away.
Disappear. Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. And now what we're saying is that I mean it's not recent, but now with the live streams and the people can just do the live streaming on their mobile phone and what's going on with Jabari, we have like we're getting back to the source because Kemet came before all this main Abrahamic belief system. But as we're trying to, as we're getting back to the source, we have some people who have a problem with that. And the reality is that even though they try to claim, okay, we are in America and we have our culture, the reality is that they only accept the Abrahamic belief system and its derivatives. So if somebody is a 5% or member of the Nation of Islam, they are okay with that. But if he comes from Africa, then they have a problem with that because ultimately they feel superior to Africa and Africans. And as a matter of fact, I was about to show this here, but
I knew you was
Reggie,
about to do it. I knew you was about to do it.
yeah,
I knew it.
Reggie, Reggie is here doing this last stream called my rebuttal to Sekou Kela. Africans have no power. Now it's Sekou Kele. It's a E before the H. If I'm not mistaken, soon they might nickname him Killer. I mean anything to make him look bad. But it's a good look for Sekou that Reggie will do a whole live stream refuting him. Reggie knows that him and the others, they got a piece of the action. Sekou gave them that work. So Since he knows he looks bad, then he wants to get on his platform and say whatever he wants to. But I'm not going to listen to that. It's a horrible look. It's a horrible. I mean, what was said, is, and I've been thinking about it after my live stream. The reality is that they don't respect they don't respect. They feel superior to Africans, and I've seen that for a long time. Some people are like that, and also the movie Black Panther, a lot of people criticized it because the idea of Africans being superior technologically, they just don't like it. So we heard talks about, oh, T'Challa is a traitor. Killmonger was right, and like I said before, if we have to stick to the movie, Killmonger just killed his girlfriend, but they don't care about that, and it's just sad because nobody's saying, okay, you have to change, you have to be like this. I mean, it's just open arms. You want to accept it, fine. You don't want to accept it, fine. But I mean, it's just all the names that Reggie said of the elders. He's going completely against what they have taught, against what they have done. John Henry Clark went to Africa. Professor Smalls, Professor Jeffries, they went there. They had ties over there. But now we have something that's just so messy, and but that's what hate does. But it's more than hate. Here is more than the hate towards Jabari. You know, it's something. It's a bit sensitive. It's a bit delicate, but it's just not gonna help him. I mean, he's going outside. It's just really, really, really sad. And I think at some point Sanetta is going to take action because this is being done on Sanetta's channel called the House of Consciousness with 189,000 subscribers. You know, so but all this is the female cat in his crew. That's what it is.
Uh,
And
you
as a
had
matter of fact, yeah, yeah. Go ahead, feel free.
you had said in one of your live streams that you're currently going to school for Egyptology. Am I right, or I
I'm
misheard?
no, you did not misheard me. I'm studying Egyptology formally. Yes.
Are you going to try to produce any amount of literature, maybe? Like, I mean,
I
because I'm curious. Like,
I
you know,
I don't think so. I don't think so because if for example my channel grows a lot eventually, and if I'm asked, I might do that because years back people proposed that I write the book, but I'm realistic. I don't want to make the effort and write the book and just sell a few copies. So in the meantime, the live streaming is just great because you can present what you want. You don't even have to worry too much about copyright issues because if you want to put some museum artifacts in the book, then you're gonna need the authorization, and most likely you're gonna have to pay. So it takes time. It's a bit complicated, but when you live stream, there's no issue with you showing artifacts on a museum. um and I've been dealing mainly with museums. I mean, what I would prefer to do is go to as many museums as possible. I have a list of museums around the world with a significant amount of ancient Egyptian artifacts, and that's one of the things I love the most. There will be the Grand Egyptian Museum that will open most likely this year in Egypt, of course. The largest archaeological museum in the world, so they say, or so some people say, and I hope that I'll be able to go there. Um,
I think
so
honestly, you should try to produce literature because I'm gonna tell you why, right? I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because you going to school for Egyptology,
mhm.
and from what I've read about Egyptology through Sheikh and Diop and stuff, that I think the French for a very long time had a monopoly over that study. Am I right or wrong?
Well, yeah, of course, because Champollion is credited as the person who deciphered the glyphs. So we could say that Egyptology as a field started with Champollion. So yes.
So you can read all these French people uh works in its original language. Like with
Well,
me, like I love Fanon, right? I got all his books, but I'm
mhm,
reading through the translations. But if you
mhm.
read Champollion or whoever in this original form, man, you got an advantage.
Well, I wouldn't say so because actually I never read any of Champollion's work. I've read some quotes from him, but it's a bit outdated, like Birch. So we- if somebody reads any translation from these authors, they won't miss much. I mean, you always miss a little bit in translations. Some things cannot really be translated, some expressions and things like that, but you won't miss much by reading in English. But I personally don't read Champollion. I think there's a lot of people who will read Champollion's work, particularly when it comes to the meta nature itself, the decipherment. Maybe about his travels, they might read it, but it was early stage. All that was early stage. Even Gardner's Egyptian grammar is considered a little bit outdated also, less outdated than Burge, I would say, but still, it's really a classic, Egyptian grammar by Sir Alan Gardner, you know, but no, Champollion, that's just too early, to be accurate to modern standards, you know.
I heard what you saying. I heard exactly what you said, man. Are you like, see, okay, so are you getting your bachelor's in Egyptology or something else
Well,
with
the
Egyptology?
the 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 degree that I would like to get is called a certificate. If I'm not mistaken, it has 120 points or credit. Let me double check. And I think a bachelor's, I'm gonna double check, but maybe it differs. Yes, 120 credits for that certificate in Egyptology. Bachelor's degree, maybe it differs depending on the school, but I think it's about the same amount of credits. Let me put, okay, if I go on this page here, if I search for credit, well, in the United States, yes, it's 120 instructional credit uh, hours. So it would be the equivalent, but it's just not called the bachelor's, you know. But that's in 3 years. I'm in my first year, and I'm a bit behind. That's why I haven't been live streaming much. But I went to work, and I mean, I cannot just read all the time. I need to chill every now and then and communicate with the audience. There's a lot of new people, so I wanted to say what's up. But this weekend is gonna be crazy for me. It's gonna be insane. you know, yeah.
Oh, but speaking of your audience and coming, from a person who watches your channel, like I mean this in the most respectful way possible. I mean, I'm being so serious. I think that what you should do is you need to keep the chat open for everybody up until you gain a massive, massive audience. And so once you start reaching the thousands, then you put it to the members only mode. Because honestly, like, that's kind of, hurting your channel to an extent. Like,
Well,
you
in a
should,
sense, yes. In a sense, yes, it's true. There will be more participation in the chat, but it takes time, and I like to go through the comments. And um, I've been live streaming very regularly since my daughter was born. She's 3 years old now, and for 3 years, I've been telling people, hey, think about your brother.
oh, snap, I
Make
gotta
sure
go,
support.
man. I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
keep
no problem, no
talking.
problem, no problem, no problem. So, yeah, for 3 years, I've been telling people, yeah, if you think about your brother, $1 a month, and and it's the same story that I've been telling people. Has been saying, yeah, I'm going to support you, blah blah blah, and then ultimately they don't, and I'm a bit tired of that. I'm tired of repeating myself. Some people just understand that supporting financially, making donation is part of the struggle. It is part of it. Like some people, for whatever reason, don't want to put themselves on front street, on the front line, so they have their reasons. So the least they can do, is financially support. You know what I'm saying? Because I cannot do it all by myself. It's just not possible at all. So I'm participating financially. Not only with all those museum trips and the museum fees and the travel and expenses, but just for the streaming alone, I pay every month. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like it too much when you're in a situation where there's people who claim that they are down for the cause, but they don't participate. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're in a house and you buy the groceries all the time. You have other people who live in the house and they don't pay the rent and they eat all the food and they say, yeah, we live good. We we look out for one another. No, that person is taking advantage. You know what I'm saying? So now we have this system. It's $3 a month, which is $36 a year. So if people, claim that they can't afford it, it's all good. To me, it's just that they don't want to and they don't have to. There's no obligation. So let me go through the comments now. So Donnie Williams, like I was saying, we have kinetic energy. We have Kelvin Fredericks. We have Kimberly Words. Hold on. Click the wrong button. Now, what was that here? Okay, that's the hosting for the website. So yeah, for the website is, it's all good. I don't want to dwell too much into that. Oh, Kimberly is here now. He's connecting. Hello, Kimberly. Thanks for calling. Oh, Kimberly's world. Okay. Feel free to speak, sister. You're frozen right now. I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah, you're frozen. Maybe if you can try to leave and come back, because if you can hear me, we don't hear you and your screen is frozen. Oh, now it's moving. Now it's moving. Can you hear me, sister? I think the connection is not. Okay, now it's moving, but I don't hear you. I don't hear you. Can you try to speak?
How does this work?
Okay, now
Oh,
now
you can't
now
hear?
now I can hear you. Now I can hear you. Your connection is not great though, because it's like breaking up a bit. But
Let me
uh,
see.
okay, now I hear you well. How you doing, sister? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's breaking up. It's breaking up. Um, by any chance, would you have the cable? Oh, if you can hear me, if you happen to have the cable for the internet, it will be best if you plug it in your computer. The Wi-Fi nowadays is okay, but the cable itself, the Ethernet cable, that's how we call it in French. I don't know if you call it that in English, but it's always better. So feel free to give it another try. Or if you want, I don't know if you were using your mobile phone or your laptop, but feel free. I would like to hear from you. So feel free to come back, sister. Now let me go through the comments in the meantime. V Bennett is in the place to be. Wab Funk is in the place to be. V Bennett wrote, Lord, I got a bag in my home. Lord, that way kicking and punching is always fun. Yeah, you see, that's what's up. That's what's up. France got a lot of black folks. Indeed, they colonized so many African countries, mainly in West Africa. And I guess England colonized many in East Africa. V Bennett wrote, Reggie doesn't look African American. I think he's not what he says. Well, I don't know what you're trying to say here. Reggie should give a DNA test because he projects he may not even be African American. Well, no DNA. Well, I don't think there's any DNA test that would say the person is African American. I love that message. I saw it earlier as I was talking with Brother Lionel. I'm still waiting for Garfield degree. Guess I'm also, and this is something that, but the difficulty is that if you say that on the channels that we are familiar with, we're gonna have the Terminator moderators is gonna put you on timeout and block you ultimately. But it would be good to press that issue, because they want to talk about international relations. But somebody's false flagging, somebody's making a claim that he doesn't want to substantiate. He obviously has different identity. He has been accused of defrauding people. I mean, defrauding people. I mean, of scamming people. I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy. But let them do that thing. But it's good every now and then that we are reminded that this guy has still not shown his degree, his Photoshop degree. And remember, and I've played it many times. There's a degree that he showed to Chris MVP Harris with the name in the field, and the other degree that he showed to Sheffrin with a different name and a different field. And we have several people capping for that, but they are too busy hating on Sekou now. V. Bennett wrote, a lot of them dudes are hiding their own background while questioning Sekou. Yes, they are hiding their own background. We'll have to wonder why. And what's for sure is that in America is different than in France. In America, most of the time, you can easily look up somebody's criminal record. And I think for some of them, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. Kevin wrote, Shaka, when are you going to commit again? I don't know. I think once that new museum will open, I will be extremely tempted. So I really don't know. And a lot of times I'm thinking, okay, it depends also, what's going to happen, how many people will be there, how many people will support, how many people will become members, because that could change the game. Really, I've been thinking about buying a reflex camera or DSLR camera, so then when I do the live stream, the quality will be better because that plays a part as well. That's important. This layout is very professional. I like the previous one, but that one looks even better. More modern, and I think with a nice video quality, it will be even better. But if I buy one, I'll get one that has quality. And also, when I go to museums, also when I take the pictures, even if you have less megapixel on those type of cameras, the reflex or DSLR cameras, the quality is usually better than the mobile phone. So every time I'm hesitating, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna get one, and then I'm thinking, okay, let me wait, because I might invest in that, and it's not gonna be a big change, and that's quite some expenses. Also sometimes I'm thinking about, I think about Kemet and a few other things, but we'll see, we'll see. We have the Ferrotist here who wrote Hotel Family. We have V. Bennett who wrote, no matter what you read, your own comprehension plays a role as well. V. Bennett wrote $3 should be fine if they follow your show. Yeah, I mean, and that's a sad thing to me because I have people who've been following me for years, but yet they won't even donate. Well, I used to say $1 a month, but I've put the $3 because um, I know that YouTube takes 30% of the Cash App. I'm sorry, not the Cash App, of the super chat and super sticker. So I thought, okay, if they take 30%, I might as well put, $3. So this way I can end up with $1. You know what I'm saying? But or maybe two if I'm lucky, out of the $3 per month. But it is sad, but it's a reality. And I want people to see that because I've been telling people actually, um, the old heads have heard me say that, and the people who joined the channel recently may have not heard me say that. Some of you will be very surprised, thinking that some people are down, but when it's time to donate, to participate financially, then you will be disappointed. Um, the behavior of some elders or some old dudes, I went through that. I mean, those Pan Africans in France defending rapists and pedophiles publicly is just disgusting, and they have the nerve to try to make you look bad. And I'm seeing a similar pattern with Sekou. They are trying to make Sekou look bad, as if he was disrespectful or something. You know, that's just horrible. It's messed up. But things like that, it doesn't last long because, like I said, some people heard me say that before. You had some so-called gangsters in France who rolled with neo Nazis and skinhead, and they got sodomized, and we don't hear about them anymore. And some of them actually went to jail for rape. So when people are messed up, sometimes they're stubborn, but it's just a path to destruction. That's all. You know, there's a lot of Pan Africans who run their mouth. We don't hear them anymore. You know what I'm saying? Um, if you have a solid foundation, you will last. You know, but so far we have a melting pot of strange individuals. It's just pitiful at this point, real pitiful. You know, we have to make sure that we support ourselves, even though we might not agree on everything. But with what I'm seeing here, I'm standing with Sekou. It's just like when I saw uh the same brother saying that he'll make sure that Chris MVP Harris, doesn't debate with anybody. I invited Chris MVP Harris. He didn't ask me anything. We have Pan African James in the place to be. Hotel, brother. How you doing? Can you hear me, brother? Oh, you're frozen as well. Okay, I saw you move slightly, but we just don't hear you for now, brother. Pan African James. But we see you. We see you moving though.
Mic on mute. My bad.
Oh,
Can you hear
okay,
me?
okay. Feel free to speak, brother. Yeah, we can hear you. And we have Jay Heru as well. Feel free to speak, Pan African James.
Man, what's going on?
I hear you though. You said, "What's going on?" Okay, well, he's on mute. Well, Jay Heru, feel free. Your video quality is good, so I think the sound will be good as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Jay Heru.
What's going on, Shaga?
Oh, I'm chilling, brother. Thank you for calling. I appreciate that. Feel free to speak.
Yeah. What's that?
Feel free to speak, brother.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
You can
now
hear me,
Jay Heru
Shaka?
has gone. Well, I can hear you, Pan African James. Okay, but just hold that thought, please, Pan African James. Hold that thought, please. Jay Heru, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I had a phone call come in. It had blinked out for a minute.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I seen you had a Q&A, man. I listened to your show yesterday, and I finally got to watch the full show of
Oh,
what
man.
when they was talking about Sekou, man.
Oh,
I had to be honest, man. I was totally disgusted
yeah,
at what I
I was
heard.
as well.
I
So much.
mean, they call him super African. Unc say he a weak African, and I'm sitting here, I'm listening, and I'm like, to me, it's like these guys, for some reason now they become anti-African.
Yeah, they don't even realize it.
They don't. I mean, when you sit on a panel like that with a guy like Sekou, and you're saying these different things, discrediting him, trying to discredit him for, the work that he does, the things that he's doing, trying to educate people, and which is what the conscious community is supposed to be about,
Yeah.
but it's like you're trying to tear this man down, and he's basically, operating on the same principles that we're supposed to be, as far as the conscious community is concerned. I mean, how I don't understand, like how all of a sudden now we don't, we turning on Africans, and I don't get it, man. You know, it was sad, and
It's
I mean, I understood what you were saying when I went back and seen the actual video. Man, he ate them up. He chewed them up and spit them back out, man.
Yeah, he did. And I'm so proud of the brother,
Yeah,
and
it was
yeah, feel free,
actually
brother, Pan African James.
embarrassing.
It was. It
Yeah.
was embarrassing. Feel free,
Yeah,
Pan
it was
African James.
actually embarrassing to see. I mean, and I don't know if they went and watched the replay like we did, right? You know what I'm saying? Because if you listen to yourself, you sound like an idiot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, nothing that they said lined up. And see, now I know that you have your own challenges with Pan-Africanism, but that's what Sekou's working off of. You see
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And
yeah.
it's what that entails is global African unity. And that's the same model that we were given through Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben has a video, Pan-Africanism or Perish. It's a video entitled that, and I have a book, I have a video time stamping what Dr. Clark says about why it's important for diaspora Africans to unify with our nucleus, meaning our source. Like, why would you try to alienate yourself from your power. We have, I mean, the most Africans on the continent of Africa. You got 1 billion Africans there. Why would you want to fragment yourself with the 48 million here?
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? That does not mathematically make sense if you're knowledgeable about how this works. So Sekou's 100% in line with what the original goal was from the Pan-Africans who got murdered. He even brought them up, and that went over their head. When he brought up Thomas Sankara and Patrice Lumumba, he brought that up to show that the people who had the original idea of us unifying, which would give us the real strength, got killed. But they glossed right over that, like he brought that up for no reason at all. So I'm like, really, like, this is really crazy. Then when he said, "Yo, we have no power," where's the most powerful currencies at? Shaka, who has the most powerful currencies? Where is a powerful currency on the continent of Africa? Do you know the reason why people are going across the Mediterranean Sea, risking their life, is based on that currency? If we had a strong currency in Africa, no Africans would risk their lives to go to Europe. Am I correct?
Mm. And you know, I'm glad with what you just said, because you see, for those who don't know, I think the stream is still going on, but brother Reggie, the elder, he's just tripping. We see right here is doing a video called "My Rebuttal to Sekou Kela." Now he misspelled his surname, but that's okay. It happens. Africans have no power. Sekou, now I know how they are, how they like to change the narrative. You would think that Sekou said African Americans have no power, as if it's like a shot, you know, like a shade. But Sekou clearly said that Africans have no power as well. Sekou gave the example of some military base in Africa, because there's a few countries in Africa where America have a military base. Sekou said that if a U.S. soldier commits a crime, he cannot be tried by the country where the base is.
Right.
He will be tried by the Americans, you know.
They're so ignorant, Shaka. They don't even know that. He
Well,
was trying to see, like,
yeah, but
how you
said it, though.
disrespecting the continental African? You know what I'm saying? He knows more about what's going on in Africa than we do. Right?
Yeah, I would say so. But the thing is that, you know, he made that clear, not but just by that title alone, I know where he's going to try to go. And I know some people will say, "What, you're not listening to the live stream?" But the title speaks volume already. And I know how they are trying to change the narratives. I mean, we're talking about the guys who had a female cat who embarrassed them, and then they would try to act like Jabari was running. It's like one of the worst things I've ever seen. I mean, the dishonesty. So, you know,
It's really disrespectful to us, because they
it
act
is.
like they act like we're ignorant and we didn't see what happened. You know
But
what I'm saying?
you know the things that let's presume, okay, somebody in America, he just doesn't want to, you know, be cool with Africans. I'm like, okay, but the way they were questioning Sekou, it's like, I mean, they're just looking for something. And I see you, Kimberly, trying to connect. He says device is not connected. Sometimes he says that before the connection happens, so maybe it will take a few seconds. It's as if, you know, Sekou is supposed to have all the solution, all the answers, and it was
Hold
really
on.
a
He
lot
do
of.
got all the solution, all the answers compared to
Well,
them.
I will, well,
Yo,
when I say
look at go. Based on what the conversation, he had all the answers. Everything
Yeah.
he said was in line with what we need to be doing as a comparative to what they were saying. He
Yeah,
had all the
but
answers.
yeah, but hold that thought, Pan African James. We have Kimberly. Kimberly, feel free to speak, sister.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you for calling.
Is
Feel
it
free to
better
speak.
than?
It's
Okay,
much
so
better.
this is okay. I'm on my phone and we're having a winter storm right now.
Oh,
See,
what
but
where
yeah,
are
I'm
you?
on my phone.
Mm-hmm. Where are you located? Like which
I
state?
am in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for calling. Feel free to speak, sister.
Oh, I'm whatever the brother was talking about. Let him go ahead. I'm
Okay.
listening.
All right, stay with us, sister. Well, go ahead, Pan African James. You can also add on Jeheru, but just so that you know, sister, there's a brother Reggie who's doing a live stream, and I just want to show it to the people so they can see the title. It says, "My rebuttal to Sekou: Africans have no power." Now there's 302 people watching because Saneda's channel has 189,000 subscribers. And I don't know what
Yeah.
Sanetta will do, but it's such a horrible look, man. Just, I mean, the conversation they had, and I think I did not
People
listen
are
to
over. That
all of
many
it, but
people are
most of
over
it.
there.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah,
over
it's a
there
large platform.
and disgruntled. Most, if you looked at what the percentage of people that's in disagreement with what he's doing, they're over
Yeah.
there showing. I was over there, and I
Mhm.
was calling them all kind of names. I'm so disgusted with what he's doing. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I was
I'm like,
looking at the chat too,
you know what I'm
man.
saying? And then y'all, and then in the original video, I was telling them, I said, see, you didn't call him what did he call him? A super African or
A
something?
super
And when he
African
called
man.
him a super African, I said, see, Reggie, you calling him names. So when people get
Mm.
mad at you, start calling you names for begging for cash apps or
Mhm.
calling you a crybaby, don't get
Mhm.
mad. And
Don't
then
get
he
mad.
replied to
Yeah.
me, I see you. Yeah, I see. He said, I see you. Now I'm your enemy or something like that. I said, I want you to be because I'm pissed off at you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing this. I'm not saying this publicly for you not to see it. I want you to see it because I'm mad at you. I'm
He
just
likes
as
to play the victim.
upset at you as you upset with me for calling you out about what you're doing. That's
He
not something that Dr. Clark taught. I
no.
just refuse. And he always uses them as a
Yeah.
crutch,
Yeah.
to keep us off of what he does.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're not in line
He's
with
not
their
following.
teachings.
Yeah, he's not following, and he likes to play the victim because we've seen him banging on Jabari for like 2 years, and Jabari at one point say, I've been calling you brother, and I don't think I will continue to call you that. And then ever since then, Reggie said, "Oh, I'm not his brother. I'm not his brother," as if he's offended. But it is what it is. I mean, the elder Reggie is just going outside. That's it. And sometimes it happens. He's just getting worse by
Hey,
the day. Yeah, go ahead,
Mhm.
Jehu.
you know the problem with that, man. We're talking about Reggie, right? But
Yeah.
what I think is dangerous about it is he get there's other people that's following behind him and adding to that, all of that chaos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got the Ryborn and you got Unk,
Mm.
all them guys. I mean, you
Ra-
have
Ra-
people that are following them.
yeah, Rob one is a 5%er. So all the big head
Correct.
scientists and
Oh
Let's
yeah.
SEC
Oh,
go
I
formulas.
put
know.
that out there.
I've never
Right.
heard him criticizing Farrakhan for saying that we are marked and disfigured. So as long as people follow the Asiatics, he's cool. He likes to see, and I'm repeating this. Those guys kept, and himself when I called him out a year ago, he didn't want it, and he said, and you know what? Let me just show for the people who haven't seen it. I'm going to show for the people who didn't see it. The hypocrisy of these dudes is just crazy. So, brothers and sisters, for those who don't know, here, if I put Rabon, there it is. Rabon, I'm calling you out, right? Look at the date, 1 year ago. Now he came on. Hold on, where is it? There it is. For those who don't know, each one teach one. That's his account, right?
Yep, that's
Now,
him.
is it showing well enough? Okay, yeah. You can go on full screen mode if it's a bit small. So he wrote, "Lol, I just saw this," and you see that was 1 year ago that he replied. He replied like probably
Yeah, well, I
the
can see
next
it.
day or something like that. Yeah. So he wrote, "Lol, I just," and as a matter of fact, it's the same day I called golf Trackfield out, and Trackfield came on my platform ultimately. So and I called him out because he said Kemet is dead. You know, and he's
Track
been
field.
saying that for a long time. But anyway, he wrote, "Yes, I said Kemet is dead as its original culture, language, etc." Now he said Kemet is dead. Period. Now he's expounding, and he has the right to. Yes, it's dead. The over romanticism of it is dead. For me, it's simple. Life continued after Kemet, and I'm happy people are now finally talking about our history here in America and West Africa. And West Africa. Frankly, not interested if it's not about West Africa or the history of the diaspora. I have a whole channel for you to view to discuss any of those points. Peace. So I replied, peace. He didn't want it. I'm like, okay, it's cool. It's not the first one. It won't be the last one. So I've heard them saying, oh, we're not from Quebec. We're from West Africa. I've heard that. And now Sekou is from where? Isn't he from West Africa? And we've heard what this is. So now the West Africa talk is out of the window. But when it's the Asiatic black man teaching, is he saying, oh no, that's Asia? No, I'm not interested. You so this is a huge hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying? But the Asiatic black men, they never held any weight. You know, their PhD in Islamic studies, I crushed him. They never been strong. I'm sorry to say that, but the Asiatic black men, they have never been strong. How many Asiatic black men, and I'm talking Asiatic black men, I'm talking like Nation of Islam, mainly the 5%ers of Nation of Gods and Earth, the NGE, that's an offshoot of the Nation of Islam. How many of them do you hear on platforms doing debates and stuff like that? You know what I'm saying?
No, you don't see them.
Yeah, you know, the only thing, you know, is the narrative of, you know, Farrakhan being the black pope, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that's for people who love somebody to follow. Like some people love to follow Karenga despite him torturing black women. Because the Nation of Islam is most known, or let's say Farrakhan is most known for a march, which is the Million Man March.
Right.
Farrakhan himself said that members of the Nation of Islam were involved in the killing of Malcolm X. I've played that video.
Yeah.
Now we have Farrakhan talking about Malcolm X after his death, saying, you know, frankly, it ain't none of your business. What do you have to say about it? Did you teach Malcolm? Did you put Malcolm in front of the world? Was he your traitor or was he ours? If we dealt with him like a nation deals with a traitor, what the hell business is it of yours? You just shut up and stay out of it. And to me, that says it all, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, there's that 3-minute excerpt where he's explaining that black people are cursed and disfigured and marked, and that we are the essence of ugliness, because the essence of ugliness lies in disobedience, and the essence of beauty lies in obedience, you know. So people want to follow him. And he also said that natural hair is a disease carrier and a disease catcher. I mean, if it was a Ku Klux Klan guy who said that, people would be all up in arms. But
that was the show last night. That show that Sekou did, that was that same show. All of those sound bites that you just described that Farrakhan had, they had those same sound bites. You could use those sound bites that they used against Sekou. They were just as bad.
I mean, he's
from
just
the show the other night. They were just as bad. You could clip those things that they were saying, and they were just as horrible as what Minister Farrakhan had said 20 or 30 years ago.
I would say Farrakhan was worse. You know, with all fairness, I would say because Farrakhan.
No. That they was right. I wouldn't put any one of them above the other. Trust me.
Wow.
That was
okay.
So hold up.
It's a matter of opinion.
Let me just tell you, Shaka. Check it out. Watch this. They had the nerve to tell Sekou he just left. Even if he just left Islam 2 years ago for African spirituality, just because he just found out about it, they said that like that was bad.
Yep.
They were like, you just found out about African history. We all found out. You know what I'm saying? Like, most of us come from a Christian background.
You know what it is, but
so
about
what are you
African
saying?
But at one point, there's no logic, because those are just talking points. They just want to say something to make him look bad, and they will say anything. I mean, this is something that when people lack maturity or honesty, that's what they do. That's what they do. And all of those things that let's say Reggie, because he's the eldest, I'm pretty sure he would have not said a third of what he said if Professor Jeffries or Professor Smalls were there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at this point, but you know, some people are just gonna roll with it, and they're really butthurt
it's recorded though, Shaka.
It is, but you know, you see,
it's recorded.
If Sanetta hears me, what does
you
Professor Jeffries? But we don't. And I don't want to say it like it's a fault on their part, but I don't hear about Professor Jeffries and Professor Smalls speaking about what Reggie said. You know,
no, they don't. They don't do that.
Hold on, though. This is just 2 days old.
No, check this out. This is not 2 days old.
If they get wind of that, I think that it's going to be some reprimanding going on somewhere down the line.
But check this
out.
If
they get wind of that video and get a chance to view that in full context, they're going to definitely reprimand what Brother Reggie said. I guarantee you that was horrible.
I don't think they really know about that. I don't think they know what he's doing though.
Maybe they don't know.
If they get wind of it, I think they will.
Yeah, but you know, and brothers and sisters, you know what to do now because this is over a year old. What I'm gonna play is only 36 seconds.
I don't believe in old Egyptian gods. I don't believe in that stuff. I wasn't even taught that bullshit, right? I'm the one who bangs against the Cometics. I bang against them and they can't get through me because the gods that they worship, right, were born from another group of thinking, right? So you can't come with me with no goddamn Heru or no other that bullshit. Show it to me in the primary, show it to me in writing, show it to me in the period. You're making the bullshit up.
Now, you see, I wonder what Dr. Rikedi Amen thinks of that. I wonder what Mfudishi Jehutimus thinks of that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that some of them got to hear about that. And out of love and compassion for Reggie, they don't want to say anything publicly. But the guy is running wild now.
Yeah, it's getting out of hand, man.
It is. It's getting out
It's
of
getting out
hand.
of hand, and
I mean, yeah. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Feel free.
honestly, like you say, I'm to the point to where it's like, I mean, what I say may not hold a lot of weight or whatever, with Sarnetta. I know that's this guy, whatever case may be, but at some point, like we can't we can't keep letting him do this, because it's not good for what we trying to do.
This is horrible. Brothers and sisters. I've been thinking about. I made the last stream, and I was thinking more about how Seku handled them. But then, of course, I thought about it, and I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it all day. I was like, man,
Me too.
can you believe? I was like, some things you need time to process, and I'm like, and I'm hearing Unc as well. Like,
Ugh.
man,
Man, like this been on my mind the same way, Shaka. Like this ever since I watched it, it had spiritually disturbed me. And I've
yeah,
been
Yeah.
thinking about I'm like, well, how could they be thinking? Is this real? I'm like, I'm trying to play it in my mind, like, are they serious? Is this some kind of a game? I'm just thinking it's all kinds of weird thoughts going through my head, like was he really a student of the doctor? You even came. I said, well, maybe he was just the butler. You see what I'm saying? It's all kind of thoughts just coming through my head. Like, man,
That's the
how
way he
could he
act,
have
man.
missed the lessons? Like, he couldn't have been in class or something. Like, So yeah, that's just how I mean, I understand exactly what you said. My emotions and my thoughts have been all over the place since I viewed that video. It's been very spiritually disturbing to me.
So
it's
I
sad.
guess it's glad to know I'm not the only one who felt like that then, because that did something to me. I did not like that.
I mean, when Unc said, to Sekou to go back to Africa, when I asked him about it, he said, yeah, I told him that, and I say it again. And him not keep on going. They're on the wrong path, and I don't even think they're realizing it. I mean, I don't even think they're realizing how bad they look supporting Garfield to this day. You know,
Yeah,
like
it's
like they,
sad,
they've
man.
they've really placed the wrong bet, and them also siding with Trackfield with his lies is sad. But now them speaking out of their mouth how they feel about an African brother, and by extension about Africans, and it's clear that they feel superior. It's clear, and I mean, it's like I said, they just don't respect Sekou. And Sekou is not being disrespectful towards them. And those guys get the plot. I mean, this is not Sanella's fault. Everybody's free to say what they want, but I never thought that I would see the day when I would hear that. From like the Asiatic black men, I'm not surprised. They're spooky. They're teaching spooky. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, we don't hear those guys having debates or discussion. You know what I'm saying? Because they just believe in that Pakistani Far Muhammad, and people have the nerve to say that he's biracial and his father was jet black. This is what Elijah
Mm-mm.
Muhammad thought. You know what I'm saying? You have to be really, really
Mm-mm.
mentally challenged to believe that Far Muhammad's father was jet black.
No.
And if you haven't seen Far Muhammad, I mean, just for the benefit of the court, brothers and sisters, if you don't know who the God of the Nation of Islam is, the God of Louis Farrakhan, and
Lily
and
White.
and yeah, and that's one of the reasons why Clowns 13X left it. But some say he was kicked out by Malcolm X. So I mean, there's some things about Clowns 13X, but this is him. This is him.
Mhm.
Now, if anybody on this planet Earth want to believe that this guy's father was jet black,
No.
then more power to you. You know what I'm
With
saying?
straight hair.
Yeah, more power to you. But coming from Unc and Reggie, I'm like, oh man, you know.
They expose themselves, man.
That's what. But sadly, I'm thinking, how long have they been thinking that? They cannot possibly just think that
Right.
because of Jabari, or maybe they got crazy. I mean, can you believe, brothers and sisters, in their mind, they actually thought that Trackfield was gonna beat Jabari.
Right. I knew they was crazy when they was siding with him. I'm like, man, something wrong with y'all. Ain't no
Oh
way.
no. They didn't just think that Trackfield do a good job and maybe it will be a tie, or maybe it will be like Trackfield said he's gonna mop the floor. I mean, maybe he's
Yeah.
convincing. Maybe he treated them so bad, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if he threw money in their faces, but and now they have an emotional damage. You know,
Mm.
I mean, it's the worst. I knew he was, to me, he was gonna get crushed.
Oh yeah.
But if somebody would have told me that he would not have showed up, I wouldn't have believed it. After all that talk for 2 years.
Man.
3. Hold up, let's get another. Don't cut us short. It was 3. Because we had COVID. That's what made it so long. It was
And
a
now
3-year
instead,
wait on that
yeah,
particular conversation.
yeah, but
And
they'll
what's so
say
cold about it,
they'll
Shaka?
say the COVID is not their fault. But check this out. Instead of getting mad at the guy who let them down, now they're getting that. You think Sekou did something bad to them? You think Sekou stole their girl or stole their money?
I don't understand. Like, I'm trying to figure out what is the aggression towards Sekou. Do you think it's really seriously because he sides with Jabari? Is that the total reasoning
that's
as to why?
That's the
That's got a
main
lot to
reason.
do with it.
That's
Is
the
that
that's
what?
yeah.
Because I still haven't pinpointed what is the aggression towards Sekou about. It's nothing that
because
Sekou
of
has done that's been disrespectful to anyone,
he ain't
even
did nothing.
Jabari for that matter.
If you go back to the videos and you seen Sekou was on there before all the stuff came up with Jabari, you didn't see that coming from them. It didn't start until he started, he started to defend Jabari. That's when they jumped on Sekou.
That's when
Mm.
Unc told him go back to Africa.
And the same thing with Chris Harris. They did Chris Harris the same way.
And it's just sad, man. It's just sad, man. But
So basically, what we're looking at is fragmentation. Yeah, I recognize
yeah, but I
this,
mean,
right?
real
time. That's what
that's
this
the
is.
group.
That's what this is.
Yeah, but that's the group efforts.
This is
I mean,
going to be
remember,
tribalism. When somebody has a different way of thinking, and then we're disagreeing with that thought, and we're going to split and going to isolate and remove them out the way. That's what's getting ready to happen, because nobody in their right mind is going to agree with them as far as the direction in which we need to go to get ourselves out of this situation. They're talking about fragmenting 48 million from a billion. That does not mathematically make sense. I'm not doing
yeah, I'm not doing that either. But some people would agree with them. Some of Asiatic black men, and some Hebrew Israelites, because some Hebrew Israelites, they've been saying so many derogatory things towards Africans. But I mean, it's real sad. I mean, I never thought I will see the day where I will hear what I'm hearing now. It's just horrible, and they're trying to justify it. I mean, they could say my bad. They could just stop this foolishness and say, okay, my bad. I got carried away. But now, I mean, and this is only the beginning. Like the hate for Jabari, we called it that early. But African James, do you remember those riparian nights? We don't hear them anymore, right? But I think the brother is frozen. But the riparian nights, you know what I'm saying? We don't hear them, and that's what's going to happen to them. That's what's going to happen. I mean, they will still have some people listening to them, but it's not gonna it's not gonna be glorious, because the Hebrew Israelites, their doctrine is not a black doctrine.
No.
I mean, they turned it into something black. They're trying to use the scriptures, but it was not black people who came up with those scriptures. Those patriarchs, individuals from the Bible, the people who wrote the stories were not black people. They even some of them have the nerve to say that King James was black.
Yeah, I
I mean,
heard that too, man.
yeah, and that's been years. And when I heard that back then, I was like, are they serious? Some of them really believe that King James was black. The funny thing was King James was a Brokeback Mountain type of dude. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, and they sweep that
Yeah,
under the
he
rug.
was.
You know what I'm saying? So,
He was a
I mean,
faggot.
in terms of history, it doesn't really fly. It's not solid. It's not. Now, the 12 tribe chart,
Oh,
how many scholars talk about this? It's like I'll write something today and look, that's the chart. No scholars talk. I mean, no PhD talk about this. It's some made up stuff, you know.
That's
yeah,
But
right.
at this point, their best allies would be other people who hate on Africa. I mean, I wouldn't be
mm-hmm.
surprised at this point if they're allied with the Ku Klux Klan, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because they're gonna say, "Oh, we Americans, so let's get together." I mean, it's a weird version of tribalism. It's just sad, man. And
Did you
man,
hear? Hey, did you hear Unc when he said Unc said he African, but he not West African? Did you hear that when he said that? I think he said
oh,
I'm
I think
African
yeah,
American or
he
something
said
like
yeah,
that.
he said African American, something like that. I mean, man, I mean, at this point, I'm saying, I don't wish them harm, but wrong is wrong, man. Wrong is
Yeah.
wrong, and that's wrong. Now people have the right to change their stance, and I'm
Check
like,
this
okay,
out, Shaka. Hold on.
yes, feel
Hold on,
free,
Shaka.
brother. Yeah,
Let me share my screen. Let me show you how
yeah.
idiotic what they saying is. Watch this.
Okay.
Can you see this? This is my genetic makeup. This is my genetic makeup. It says I'm 91% sub-Saharan African. So how could I tell somebody to go home and this is my genetic makeup? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
But
understand what I'm saying? I'm
I
90, I'm
understand.
91.8. Like, how am I telling somebody to go home? And this is where
Mm-hmm.
my whole genetic up is 90 in Africa. So how am I I'm not home, basically, is what I'm saying. Did I stop sharing?
You
I'm
did
trying to
stop
stop
sharing.
sharing.
Yeah, you
Okay,
did stop
okay.
the
Yeah,
sharing.
but what I'm
Yes.
saying is we're not home. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Sekou was saying. You know what I'm saying? He said he said it so beautifully and eloquently. It was just so he said that this is a forced situation that you're in. This ain't didn't
Yeah.
come over here by choice.
Yes,
When he
Right.
and
said
it's
that,
true. And it's
that was
true.
just so masterful how he broke that down. And I was
It
just
is.
like, this is sad.
Yeah, man,
Because
he
he's
moonwalked
saying
on
it
them.
so calmly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
said that so
He put it
calmly,
on him.
like and it's as if y'all don't even understand this. He was like breaking it
Yeah.
down for them, like y'all don't understand. So let me slow down and teach y'all what happened to y'all, because
Mm.
evidently y'all don't know. And they saying we
Yeah.
got power, but no one would agree with them and say that we're in the position that we want to be as African people. Who
Right.
would agree?
Exactly.
You see what I'm
Oh, it
saying?
was.
So
It,
what type of power are y'all talking about that we have? If we ain't in a position to where we're in a position we want to be in, that's the only when I feel comfortable where I'm doing what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Not when I have to do what somebody else is telling me to do. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know what type of power they talking about. I lived through the crack era. I've seen all kinds of things that these people have done in my lifetime. Let alone before we got here and the struggles that our ancestors was dealing with.
mm.
You see what I'm
It,
saying? I
it,
lived through the crack era. They
mm,
did that to us. They did that based on color,
yeah.
which they're now to turning around and saying that there's no race. How idiotic can we be?
This
You know
is
what I'm
this is
saying? That's another way to confuse us. Now it ain't
mm,
no race. So now we got to deal with that. What do you mean?
mm.
Yeah.
But
How are they subjugating? How are they subjugating us? What are they using?
this is
Tell
straight.
us.
This is straight xenophobia. That's what it is. Like it's like Willie D when he said, "Oh, your Africans gonna stop tell us, your Africans gonna stop talking about our business." I mean, I've heard that for years, and I know it's not the majority of African Americans, but some people have been saying that. But
No.
those statements were never popular. But now,
Let
for
me
me to
just say,
hear
hold
some
on,
people
excuse me,
from
Shock.
yeah, go ahead.
Let me just say, the views and opinions of those few individuals is not the collective view of the African American. Please, I want y'all to understand that for anyone that is listening, we are not in agreement with what these people are saying. And we need to put that out there because they do not speak for all of us. We are 48 million people. It's just 2 or 3 individuals that are speaking in this way. They do not represent us as a whole, as a collective. Go ahead, Shaka.
Yeah, but you know what's sad, and this is life. You know, you have some people they will be influenced by individuals that have a large platform, like Tariq Nasheed. He was not talking that FBA stuff back in the day. You know, he was talking about relationship and advices. Then he decided to do the Hidden Color series, and during the Hidden Color series, he will highlight different African figures, nations, and so on. You know, he even made the documentary about the Haitian Revolution.
Right.
But then he saw the ADOS movement, and he figured, okay, I can make some bread with that. And he came up with FBA. He hijacked the stuff. So now he's coming with this narrative. And some people, they will listen to him. He will make some arguments and be like, yeah, well, actually, that does make sense. You know, yeah, we are far removed. Yeah, we want our reparations. And, you know, oh, now we want our reparation. I mean, the stuff that he says, they're repeating it. When you listen to Tariq Nasheed, you'll feel like black people in America want reparations and Africans just one day and want to get some piece of the cake. Like, it's not like that. And then I think some people missed a lot of the statements that Tariq Nasheed made towards immigrants, towards Haitians. I mean, the way he's been
oh yeah, it was terrible.
Oh,
we
it's just horrible.
We ain't missed nothing, Shaka. We just don't parrot bad behavior. Like, you know, sometimes when you give that type of energy and you continue to speak about it, you giving it life. You know, just like when they say you speak about the ancestors, you give them life. But when you speak about people that's doing negative things, sometimes you giving them, because sometimes people are going to check them out. You know what I'm saying? And they might get indoctrinated into that particular, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's not good to speak about these people because a lot of people haven't studied enough to be able to make their own decisions. So when I look at a Tariq Nasheed, even though he did that Hidden Color thing, he just was a guy that had a camera, evidently. He never went and studied anything to have form his own opinion. You see what I'm saying? Because had he, and the same thing would go for Brother Reggie too, and whoever else. The things that they say are shifty. They'll be saying something 5 years ago, and then they'll be saying something else 5 years later. Now we all are supposed to be growing. Now growing is going in a good direction. These people are regressing. They're dying. They're killing things. You see what I'm saying? And that is bad for what we're trying to do. And you know what I'm saying? That's what I see.
Oh yes. Go ahead, brother.
It went it went from them banging on and jumping on the Hebrews to now they jumping on the Africans. They anti-African now. They did a whole 360.
Yeah.
Right. I remember when Tazoriak said he wasn't going to feed the African. That was an outrage.
Yeah.
Remember that? When he told the young thing, we was shocked. Like, man.
And he's part African. You know,
they in Tazoriak's boat. They didn't climb in the boat with Tazoriak, pretty much. If you just put it in simple layman terms, they jumped in the same boat as Tazoriak.
But you know,
their sentiments for African continental Africa.
Yeah, and I think
they might as well say they won't let them eat at the cookout too.
Yeah, but I think their best move, if they continue with that narrative, their best move is to make some alliance with the Hebrew Israelites, because the people from the conscious community, they're not going to go along with that. They're not going to along, and they should pray that Professor Smalls and Professor Jeffries don't speak on it. You know, because even them not speaking on it, from what we've heard, we are speaking on it in the chat. I had a quick look at the chat. You know, I didn't listen to what the Elder Reggie had to say, and I saw a few messages. But I mean, I know the deal. You know, some people out of appreciation and love for the Elder, they don't want to go too hard on him. But it's just at this point, I mean, I never thought I would hear that. So obviously, they're gonna need some people. They're going to need some people, and they're going to find them wherever they can, But that narrative really goes against all the teaching, and that's beyond Kemet. That's beyond the Medu nature. That's beyond religion. You know what I'm saying? To fault somebody because of his geographic location. I mean, that's just so messed up. I mean, that's the motherland. And people talk. I mean, I heard, oh, we're far removed and stuff like that. Like, you know, so you never hear a Chinese person tell another Chinese one because he was not born in America. Okay, oh, take your behind back to China. You know, and I mean, it's just so much confusion. And the sad thing is that the hateful Jabari has triggered all that. You know. So I mean, but sister, if you want to add on to the discussion, feel free, sister.
Yeah, I can y'all hear me?
Loud and clear, sister.
Yes,
We can
ma'am.
hear you.
Okay. I was noticing how they were twisting up everything Sekou was saying. They took his words and they fixed it to where it became a negative. You know, like he said, we are Americans. We can go wherever we want to go. Sekou was not saying that. All he was saying was, you became an American by force. They twisted that around. Rob Bourne twisted his stuff around. So he was they had him constantly they tried to constantly put him on the defense to knock him off his, and they caused a lot of confusion. And they were all coming at him as if he's the problem. They refused to understand what he was saying. They were rebellious against his message. I don't understand that way of thinking. He was clear to me. I understood where he's coming from. And they accused him of saying African Americans are weak. We ain't got no power. We can't do this and that. And he kept trying to explain. They refused to listen.
The totality of us.
Yeah.
Did you hear when
totality
Garfield said
of us, not just African American? He's talking about collective.
Right.
Did you hear when
Garfield said that when Sekou mentioned that we need a black militia? Did you hear how? When
Travis. Oh no, that's dangerous.
That's crazy, man.
Female cat.
I mean, like, since when
they turned that into he was an agent and you shouldn't be talking like that. And
right. But see,
they tried to make him out an agent and like you shouldn't be talking like, why you saying that? You know what I'm saying? That's why how they twisted that and to try to make it seem like he was doing something. What he was saying that for us to get what we need an army. That's simple.
Yep. That's
all the man said. Where is the African army that can defend us? That's all he said.
You noticed though
into a whole bunch of BS.
But you noticed when there was a NFAC, when there was a new Black Panther Party,
I was getting ready to say
traveling around with guns. We didn't hear Trackfield say, "Oh no, that's wrong." You know what I'm saying? But I leave it there.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that. When we had the Black Panther and, like you said, the NFAC, you didn't hear him or anybody else that had any sense say those type of things. Or are we gonna go against? Are you saying that we should get a militia and go against the government? Sekou never said any of that. He putting words in Sekou's mouth, trying to take that and twist it as if he's saying that we need an army so that we could try to go after the government. Sekou never said that.
He never said that. He did not say that. And then Aunt kept saying, why don't you answer the question? What is it that you want us to do? What do you want for African Americans and Africans? What do you want? The man was trying to give his spiel and he kept doing that to him. What do you want? Just answer the question. You running, just answer the question. He's telling you what his plans are. He was telling them what he was wanting to do. But it's ridiculous. It don't make no sense.
It wasn't even what he wanted to do. Sekou was giving him the Pan-African view of what we should do. What the elders and the ancestors already said that we need to get rid of these colonial borders and unite just like China and all of these other strong nations up there. They're just one big thing. And they protect themselves based on that one entity. That was how Kwame Nkrumah Patrice Lumumba died
Yeah,
based
yeah.
on those, and that's why he
Took
brought
them
them up. But they were so historically illiterate, evidently, that they didn't even understand the context in which he was bringing up the conversation, or why he even interjected them. We don't have an army. Anybody to go look up the army in Africa. Where's the Navy at in Africa? Who's going to protect the waters? That's the things that we need. Only way we're going to get that, you can't get that through fragmentation. You can't get that by being divided by 54. You have to be one thing. And that's what we see them doing, and that's what we're trying to do. Only thing we do is mimicking what the people are doing that got us in restraint. They have consolidated and put us in a position. Now that we're able to globally communicate, we see the problem and we say, well, hey, this is what we need to do to combat the issue. What is the problem?
You know, sometimes some people are so dishonest, so disingenuous, and it's to the point where just because they are in opposition with you, you will say things that are accurate, that are making sense, and they're gonna try to refute it. And it's almost childish. I mean, it's just sad. Really, it's really, really sad. You know, if there's somebody that I'm in opposition with, if they say something true or accurate, why would I just, discredit that? You know what I'm saying? So,
hold on, Shaka. We can't afford to listen to people who are going to have an individual problem that's going to set back the whole problem. we trying to do, you know what I'm saying? Just because we listening to y'all. They don't understand that we are intelligent, just like y'all. Y'all see, Reggie try to minimalize every time. If I have a conversation with Reggie, you don't know the meta-net, shut up.
Yeah, you said that to Seiko as well. Do you know the meta-net? I'm like, what does that have to do with anything?
Oh,
see what I'm saying?
I mean, does he know the Greek? Does he know the
stuff,
Hebrew?
man.
He talks about Christianity. I mean, that's just weak.
He doesn't understand. That makes it bad when he does stuff like that. The only reason why we need y'all to know the meta-net, let me tell you what the purpose of that is. So y'all can fact check European. That's the only thing we need y'all to do that for. Y'all need to go in there and find out what that text say, so we'll know if they lying or not. That's why we needed y'all to do that. It's something that we need y'all to do, and we need more people to do that. But that is the only purpose of that. So we can go back and read the text for ourselves and find out what our ancestors said instead of what Europeans are telling us they said, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, he didn't went into the text and said the priesthood was messed up, and you know what I'm saying, as said as a whole. You know what I'm saying? He didn't went into and said it.
Did he say that?
And she been basically that's what he's saying.
Oh, okay. He said
that a set had sex before a Saw or something. Because if a Saw had, who did she have sex with before a Saw?
Man,
who did she have? If it was only 4 people on the planet, the story says it was a Saw, a Set, Nepet, and Set. Who did a Set have sex with before a Saw?
He even at one point said that he took that back. He said that Heru raped 7 women.
Yep.
So anything, and he told me that the priesthood was corrupt. You know what I'm saying? So, and he even said that the kings who built the pyramids were cuckoo, that they were crazy.
Yeah, so he goes into the text and then demonizes the history based on what he read. It's seemingly what he does. We didn't ask you to go into the text to give us your own opinion. We were trying to get you to go in the text to find out what white people was lying about. That's it. We don't need nothing else. You see what I'm saying? That's all we need you to do, Reggie. We don't need you to go in there and tell us your own personal feelings about they was crazy for building the pyramids. It's too late. They already built it. You know what I'm saying?
But you know the funny thing though, since his Aztec days, he never talked about the priesthood was corrupt and the kings who built the pyramids were crazy. But all of a sudden when there was a situation with Jabari, now he started talking all that stuff. Man, it's just sad. It's just going outside. The female cat has contaminated them. They have bet, their credibility. I mean, for them to cap for the female cat, even after the female cat backed down, to act like they believe the lies. Even Reggie said he was disappointed the day it happened. He said, "I'm disappointed." When I spoke to Reggie, he said, "Oh, there was some
Yeah.
good news in his family." I said, "Oh, so it was good news." He said, "Okay, first it was bad news, but then it
I'm a
turned into good
female
news."
cat.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm being kind because
That's
you know
funny.
they've been saying that Kemet is dead for a few years. Egyptomaniacs. He used to say that a lot. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah, it's
mean,
man, it's crazy, man. Mm.
Well,
and you know the funny. Yeah, go ahead,
I have
sister.
a
Go ahead.
question.
Feel free,
The
sister.
thing about that ticks them off about people practicing Kemet, are they angry because some of you all claim to be Egyptian, or are they angry because you want to practice Egyptian spirituality? Or is it a combination of both?
Well, I would say. Well, first of all, I'm not aware of people saying that we are ancient Egyptians. And I heard what William saying that we are the ancient Egyptians. You know,
Right.
I remember him on tape saying, "You know how I know we are the ancient Egyptians because it's the only thing that is unclaimed and blah blah blah." I'm paraphrasing, but I heard it on tape saying that, and I'm sure other people heard him say that. But most people who follow Kemet or Ma'at do not claim that they are ancient Egyptians. I don't claim that.
Well, then what's the problem?
Well, the problem
Why
is
are they
that
mad?
the problem is those guys have learned some theology mainly for until their adulthood, and then they come across people who studied Kemet, therefore studied ancient civilization and their
Mhm.
neighbors. So we are familiar with ancient history.
Right.
So we'll have a discussion just like Sekou Moonwalk on all those guys. If we talk about ancient history, we've seen Jabari, he's been moonwalking on these guys for 4 years. So they're realizing how
Man,
weak they are. And instead of,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
studying, doing their homework, they don't want to do that. All those guys in the Nation of Islam Temple, all those guys in the More Science Temple, More Science Temple of America temple or places of gathering, all those um I mean all those people that have different Abrahamic hybrid variations, they've been making a living out of this.
Right.
So
Okay.
they would have the integrity to say, you know what, brothers and sisters, actually, uh, what we've been teaching is not historical. We should, you know, get on top of our game. No, it's like the people who celebrate Kwanzaa. They've been celebrating it for years. They're making money, and they don't want to
Yeah.
modify it because it's how they eat. You know what I'm saying? And it's that simple.
Man,
I mean,
it's
remember when I was inside of
interesting.
the studios, those people came at me talking about human rights violations.
Oh, I saw that.
And
really?
we're talking about the invaders.
They was
So
mad.
when we're talking about some belief system that can mess up your mind,
Yeah, they they was
human
mad.
I
rights
think I
violation,
think
and
that those people,
go
Shaka, I
ahead, brother,
think
go
that
ahead.
those people who be in the chat, you know what I'm saying, and you know we have an open chat like that. Their views are based on historical ideology that they have an
Yeah.
affinity to. So if they're
Mm-hmm.
Hebrew, they're
Oh,
going to be cluttering up the truth because they're Hebrew.
whoa.
Or if they're still indoctrinated with something that they don't want to and see. But see, this is the thing. What we're really doing and why I landed in Kemet in Egypt is because, or Africa, so to speak, is because of the chronology. What is the oldest thing that we can go to? So it's not a slight to West Africa. My DNA says I'm 70% West African, right? But it's not a slight to West Africa. West Africa doesn't have a script that predates the Nile Valley script. That's just it. So we're looking for the oldest. We go from the oldest, and then we go to West Africa, and it's context. You know what I'm saying? That's the way we look at history. Just like we have to deal with what happened to us in America, we have to put it in its context in the chronological in which it happened. We come from a people that only had a history that started with slavery.
Yeah, but
Dr.
check this out.
Clark tells you this,
Yeah, but check
right?
this out
He
though.
said that they indoctrinated us from that point. So we're people that's looking for the truth. They stopped us at 2000 AD, basically, or right there around along in that, and they gave us a history starting with Jesus Christ. So, and they demonized the African history.
Yep.
The Egyptians
Yep.
enslaved the
Yep.
Hebrew.
Yep.
Who are
Yep.
the
they did.
Egyptians? They're not telling us the Egyptians are Africans, so to speak. They're just telling us that they enslaved Jesus and the Hebrews. So if they did all this to the Hebrews and they're pagans. So they worship more than one God. Don't do that. Don't look to nobody that's a pagan. There's only one God. So they're demonizing that history that we're trying to escape from. So now when Dr. Clark and them come along and shake out the Diop, which is a West African, he didn't look to West Africa to start his history. Shake out the Diop, Theophilo Bangers, a Congolese. They look to the Nile because that's our origins of starting our recording of our history. That's all we're saying. Am I lying, Shaka? We're not saying you're not saying you're from Kemet, are you?
No, I nobody would catch me on record saying that. In 18 years, 18 years, and even when we talk about West Africa, East Africa, America, we might say the East Coast or West Coast, but it's just there's no big separation. It's like they're still Americans. The culture is still similar. Some jargon might change, but check this out though. Those Hebrews, Israelites, what's their holy land? That's Canaan, Palestine, Jerusalem, and whatnot. That's Asia. Now, some of them are trying to be slick and say, well, absolutely, this is the African continent. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to, consult with the geologists and, the people who deal with land and stuff like that. But same for the black Muslims. They're looking up to Asia, Arabia. Now, of course, some of them also try to say that Arabia is part of Africa. I mean, this wishful thinking to me. But then it's no problem. And then when they go back to like Sumer, you know what I'm saying? What's his Chaldea, you know what I'm saying? That's Asia. They don't have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? No, they figured that this is their history. They love the story so much they wanted to place themselves into it. But scholastically, it's for them to claim that they were black is just erroneous. And some of our elders have made that claim, And when I was inside of the studios, I asked them, show me some black Canaanites, it's so sad to them. Not only that we have the Beni Hassan painting, but there's other depictions of Asiatics, and a lot of people don't know because they don't even look for these dates. They're not even used to archaeology. Those Hebrews are like, they dress their way. They try to dress like ancient time from what they've seen from drawings and comic books. You know what I'm saying? Because when we look at the Asiatics, on the depictions of Kemet, they're not dressed like that.
No, they're not.
But whenever they figure some black Israelites, it's like those Hebrews were like camps who make drawing, baby children books, and that's their image of black Israelites and Canaanites. But we have original depictions. We have paintings. See, we don't have just statues, because when we talk about statues, they always freestyle. Say, oh, we can't tell phenotype, but we have paintings. You know what I'm saying? So now then they want to be like, oh, but those are not Hyksos. How do you know the Hyksos? Who are the Hyksos? But we have once again the British Museum who said the Hyksos were of Palestinian descent. Encyclopedia Britannica, everybody can go on it. It's online. It says that they are of Palestinian descent. And the funnier thing is that we have Hezekiah Seal, Chris MVP Harris put me up on game with 2 unks, double up, 2 unks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then they have the nerve to discommit. It's just ridiculous. This belief system that we call Judaism obviously was formalized way later than people expected. And Christianity is the same. A lot of Christian apologists are trying to act like, the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, it was just a little some because, they wanted to be on board, whatever. Man, please, what are the apocryphal writings about then? I mean, at some point, I'm not saying that we should force anybody to have a particular belief system or leave a particular belief system. But if we talk about history, let's talk about history. This narrative of human right violation, I saw that. I didn't watch it, but I saw that Smash Rockwell made a live stream about the branding in Kemet, and he says it's a lie. You see?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Because Saneda said, okay, when I was on his platform, he said, okay, I give it to Shaka because they failed to show their sources. But he said at one point, branding, that actually happened. You know what I'm saying? That's what those guys believe, But to make the long story short, the narrative of Hebrews enslaving Kemet, that comes from the Bible. That's the origin of this narrative.
Yeah.
So those people don't even make the distinction, the difference between theology and history. Yeah. And we have grown men. even the scholars who are Christians and Muslims, man, they know how to make the difference. But we have some guys, who get on YouTube after they finish paying their mortgage, and now they want to kick it, and they sound so ridiculous. There's a guy, I'm tempted to say his name, but I made a video asking if he was a fool, and the people were spoken. Now, the guy called me a croissant. It's like a pastry. Yeah, he did, and then he called me dummy. Chris MVP, how he's kicked him out, and the guy he has gray hair and he has elder in front of his name.
I can't stand him. I hate him.
Oh man,
I cannot.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
He's terrible.
So
Yeah.
those guys are polluting the minds of
Yes.
young black folks. And
Yes.
Reggie, unfortunately,
see
he
things
is
in
doing
the
the same
chat.
thing.
You can see things in the chat, and like I said, that's why I try to compartmentalize why would some of the people say the things that they say, and I try to gain an understanding. Maybe they must be Muslims, or maybe they must be this, because some people have a mean spirit because they want to sway the audience to not like the information, but it also that attack also will lie on the person who's giving the information as well. So you got to understand that too, Shaka. You know what I'm saying? So some of the attack because of what your stance is, you will get attacked by who are enemies of that information. You know what I'm saying? Because we know the chronology of the history. When do the Muslims come around, Shaka? When do they come into existence?
That's
635 or something AD. Yeah, see,
yes,
we know. See, we already done found out. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no more lying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know what they say.
AD.
Yeah, you know what they say. They say Abraham was a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Moses was a Muslim. Jesus was a Muslim. That's what they'll say. But man, I mean,
you gotta be joking.
No, some of them say that. So some of them will tell you Adam was a Muslim.
I never heard that one.
Oh man, well,
really?
I spoke to them. I mean, and you see, brothers and sisters, there's one thing also is that I have been in the street, and sometimes you might not necessarily need to today because you have Speaker's Corner in London, for example. But I have been in the street before the live stream existed because I was part of some organization for Black people, and I spoke to the people. And you have the people from what we call the conscious community who have a little bit of knowledge. You've heard a few people. We have the average Black folk who may not have heard about Dr. Diop, Dr. Clark, Dr. Obenga, Dr. Ben. And trust me, it is challenging. It is challenging, but the average people are the average people because the average people don't claim to have knowledge. Now we have people who claim to have knowledge, and they are making anti-African statements, just like Farrakhan did. And Mutabaruka called Farrakhan out on this. You know what I'm saying? And I've played again the excerpt. You know what I'm saying? But Farrakhan did not take any statement back because that's the doctrine of the Nation of Islam. That's the ideology. I've shown already how Elijah Muhammad said, don't tell me to go to Africa to be civilized. And you know what? Some people might think that I'm making it up. So I just want to show you because some people don't know.
I know you got the receipt.
I got the receipt.
It's no need.
Now, hold on.
Correct.
See, now, if for those who know what my website, you go to the bottom of the page. Then here you go to Nation of Islam, Teachings of Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, and Far Muhammad. And here you have it, the theology of time. You have the audio on YouTube. You will never be able to convert me. No, because you should first do like the preacher in the jungle of Africa and Australia and not the far off Pacific Islands. Preach to the savage to hide his nakedness. This is the first preaching we give to a savage, to cover your nakedness. We don't consider Africa's people of the jungles anything for us to follow or be taught by. If you're not civilized, you can't lead a civilized person. And then same book, if you tell me to go to Africa, I will go there, but don't tell me to go there to be civilized. I'm already civilized and I'm ready to civilize Africa. And here there's a quick quote here that I want to show you.
Wait, Shaka, who quoted
Africans,
this?
hold on, check this out. Africans are not dignified. Here, look. The Fall of America, page 150. The dignified people of Africa are either Muslim or educated Christians. But Africa today does not want Christianity. Do not think that you will get a home in Africa after this war if you are Christian. To get a home in Africa after the war, you will have to be Muslim. So remember the first sentence: the dignified people of Africa are either Muslim or educated Christians.
Wow.
Okay, I mean,
Man,
who was
I
the
ain't know
quote
that.
from again?
It's the
Now, who
book
was
called
that quote?
Elijah Muhammad.
Okay, yeah,
That's
I just wanted to make
yeah.
sure we had
Wow.
the
Oh yeah,
name of
yeah.
the quote.
Yeah, that's Elijah.
So, but you
All that
know,
I've read, yeah. All that I
okay, but
read
see,
was
this is
from
why
Elijah Muhammad.
but this is why I'm a chronologist, right? Because I know that Elijah Muhammad don't come around what, the 1930s or something. Like,
Well,
how
he
can
was
the
taught
people
from
are ancient people?
1930 to 1934.
But this is what I'm saying, Shaka. How can an ancient people follow somebody with a doctrine from 1930?
Right.
You said
Right.
the Nation of
I
Islam
mean,
was started in 30.
uh,
We are
Diop,
people that
but
started
check this out.
history. Like,
Diop
what?
came after Far Muhammad, you see. But Diop was teaching history. He was not teaching theology. He was not teaching myth. He was not teaching about the big head scientists. And you know what?
That's
You know,
that's
you know,
not a religion. What?
no, no. But even if it's a religion,
Yeah,
you know what
that's
I'm
not a
saying?
religion. What
You
Diop
know,
did, Diop was just dealing with history.
how much truth? Yes, it's true. I agree with you. But you know, as I was reading, I was reminded of one thing. There was a young dude. His name was Heru, who was part of the Amara squad. This is the guy who made a video calling me a homosexual. The video is still online. He was part of the squad when he did that. Nobody told him to remove it. You know, he's still there now. That guy, but most of you don't know him. He was there for a while. But he
Okay.
was a member of the squad. He was a young force flagging 5%. The dude said he was a 5%. There was a conversation, and the guy asked him, what parliament did you go to? You know, who was your elder, whatever. And obviously, he was an online 5%. You know, if you're a 5%, you need to know somebody. It's not just you saw some stuff online. But anyway, he disrespected his sister. I didn't like it, so I spoke about this, and he was mad. Now, when I talked about these statements about Elijah Muhammad, and also that the supreme wisdom, the 120, the what they call the supreme wisdom, where he says that Africans are living in the jungle life, Africans are not civilized. That young hero on the Amen Ra Squad show pulled up a quote from Garvey, Marcus Garvey, where Marcus Garvey mentioned the term like savage or whatever when he talked about Africa. You know what I'm saying? Then that dude also talked about the contendings of Horus and Seth. Then he told me this is a lesson. This is a lesson because I was talking about the Nation of Islam teaching. Unc allowed him to do that on the Amen Ra Squad show. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's so many things that I forgave, but now if some people change their stance, it is what it is. But I'm sad when
Man,
I'm
I'm telling
thinking
you,
of the
Shaka.
fact that I'm sad because I'm thinking, okay, it means that back then it was not a mistake. The dude apologized, but it was not a mistake, obviously. That's
Right.
what he thought. He was actually cool with defending those. I mean, I leave it there, man. I leave it there.
Now, what
They're
I'm
gonna do
saying,
that.
Shaka, this is the deal. This is the deal. You got to understand. Some people that we're listening to expose themselves to what they don't know by talking, right?
Right.
And by the behavior and what they do. We have to just observe, right? And pay attention. Now, some people have pretty limp picket on here of doing, these type of things. And when you pay attention, the person you just mentioned, he's had a long record of being on the wrong side of history or having to recant something that he was wrong about. So just think about who he put on the Amen Ra squad and where it's at today. It's only one person really left. See?
It doesn't even exist as a group anymore, anyway.
But
But
what I'm saying is because the information that they had was not correct. And he found out later on. When back then we thought Wu Jiao or Assar had the right information. Only
oh my
until they
goodness.
started talking about Egypt wasn't black that we found out. You know what I'm saying? That's when we had to split. We was like, oh, hold on. You know what I'm saying?
God,
This ain't
man.
what it say. And then we went into a hole. It took us 2 years to finally get that straight and get them out the way. You know what I'm saying? With the help of you, Smash, I would say, and Brother Netanyahu. I would say Netanyahu too. Yeah, yes. With y'all's help, we were able for us, the people that don't read the text, to shift through it. Only when y'all came back were we able to make a final decision on who was telling the truth about that and who was.
Smash Rockwell took the most time because it was very time consuming to do rebuttals and go through all this documentation, and I mean I wouldn't have had time to do that, and Smash took the time to do that. And indeed, I agree with you, Brother Pan-African James, because I mean, like people in the community were really. I don't want to repeat myself too often, but it's like the guy was a scholar, the guy was a linguist, the guy was a historian, and the once again, this is Trackfield's master teacher. Garfield said live on air that he was his master teacher. So the Dagger Squad, they were behind this dude. And I mean, but it was what it was. They're not there anymore. But I don't want to say that. I'd rather hear the Riparianites.
No. This is let me just say, this is not to just discredit and say that they don't know anything. I'm not saying that. Let me be clear on that. What I'm saying is we had a disagreement based on one particular direction that we wanted to go as a people. Like they wanted to take it into Riparian, and we disagreed. You know what I'm saying? As a collective, that's what I see. I don't see too many people following based on the evidence that you guys were able to present to be able to continue to follow what they were trying to say, right?
Yeah,
that's really all it was. It was the evidence that guided the decision, not just because we wanted it to be that way.
It's a bit deeper than that because they've been disingenuous, just lying, plagiarizing. It's really deeper than that. But now if Reggie really wants to go in that direction with all these other people, all these people who follow the female cat, now they're gonna have to basically lay down. It looks like you want to roll without Africans. Just let it be known clearly. Or maybe they want to roll with Africans, but they want the Africans to be subservient. I mean, I don't know what's in their mind, but it's just messy. It's just messy. It's really messy. If anybody should be above or superior, is depending on the knowledge, And in Islam, they say that. They say there's no difference between Muslim. The only difference to somebody will be higher is in knowledge or religion. You know what I'm saying? But some people feel like, okay. Go ahead, brother.
Well, Sekou had interjected something so brilliant off in that discussion that went over their heads. He said, what we need to do, and I think it was when Unc was asking him, what you want? He kept asking, what you want, what you want, what you want? And so Sekou just broke it down. He's like, what we need to do is we need to have a council so we can decide which way we was going to go on our history and stuff like that. That's what he said. And that went over everybody's head because you know what? When Sekou said that, that's what I said we need to do. I've been saying that to myself. We need to really just have a council of Africans and just lay out what the African viewpoint of history is. And then I'm talking about the whole continent and everybody. We need to have once and for all a conference on what the African historical viewpoint is going to be. We need because we're fragmented based on that. You know what I'm saying? And until we get strong enough to have those type of discussions or to make those type of decisions for ourselves, and see, that's what I think these other people are outside the loop on, Shaka. It's like they are discounting Africans being able to think for ourselves because that's all Diop and them did. They had a council and they said that, hey, man, the Egyptians is white. But the Africans, for the first time, had a chance to sit in and say, hey, man, we think this would happen. Mm-hmm. And then they go against what the Africans' viewpoint of it, whether it's right or wrong, because they don't know what happened. Europeans, they don't know what really happened. They're still piecing this together just like we can do. And we have the right to do that too. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, some people might use that against me, but the Europeans have a very good knowledge of ancient Egypt. Now, of course, I'm
talking about this global history in general.
Oh yeah, okay,
historicity of how we came in, how the Neanderthals go extinct. They still trying to figure this out. They just found out the Neanderthals was still living in the genomes of humans in 2010.
Well,
These
you
people
know,
are still figuring this out. That's all I'm
the
saying.
yeah, I see what you mean. They might not touch too much on the Neanderthal or how white people or Caucasian came on the planet Earth because
Right.
it might be inconvenient, you know. But Diop touched on that.
Correct.
Diop talked about albinism. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't sound glorious, you know. It's a bit, you know. But that being said, who's running the show? Today we know who's running the show, and the
Mm-hmm.
idea of some sort of council I think is a great idea, but we should at least in the West come to terms about, okay, that's how we get down. Do we get down with the
Well, hold on.
Abrahamic
What you
belief
mean,
system?
Shaka?
like
Okay,
like
yeah,
okay,
I'm trying
like
to.
let's
Yeah,
say
break this down.
America, when I say the West, you know, I mean, you know, like Europe and America, you know, how will we go about things now? Do we include the Abrahamic belief system, or do we let them continue because they've been there for like 1400 years combined? You know what I'm saying? When it comes to slavery, and after
Hold
they've
on,
been
slow
there
down,
for
Shaka. Why you hold on? Why you say that? Like, why are you stopping the African participation in the discussion? Why are you saying that the West need
no,
to
but
do it
no,
first? See,
I'm not
that's kind of
stopping the
hold on,
African.
stop.
No, no,
Okay, because I'm just saying you kind of
yeah,
sounded brother Reggie-ish them there right
no,
there, like the
okay, but
Africans can't be involved in
but
our
it's no, no,
totality
no, no.
decisions.
It's good you tell me that
Don't
because
do that. Okay.
it's gonna avoid any confusion. What I'm proposing is that before we make some sort of council with Africa first, what is our stance? Do we include the Abrahamic systems or not? Then once we get that out of the way, then we can holler at the brothers from the continents, because a lot of people from the continent, they want to remain in this Abrahamic belief system. And I think that after
Mhm.
all that we have learned, you know, personally, I feel like, okay, this is not where we belong. We need not bring forth this belief system. Those belief system has caused us hundreds of years of slavery, you know. And every time we try to get into that path, we have those people who try to, you know, deter us away. You know, like
Mhm.
he says in the movie, every time I try to get out, they pull me back in. That's what we're seeing, you know.
Correct.
And for a long time, it was the black Muslims. The black Muslims, they gave up. You know what I'm saying? They buckled under the pressure. Now we have the Hebrew Israelites. They're the number one people holding on to it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't really have a platform. Sanetta, you know, helped them. Now they're trying to, you know, do their
Oh
thing. But
man, see what I'm saying? See, that was devastating what you just said right there, Shaka.
It's true
I
though,
can't let you
man.
get
It's
past
true.
that. Yeah, you know how I know it's true? Because I'm in Texas, right? It wasn't no Hebrew Israelites in Texas 10, 15 years ago. Now you can see a Hebrew Israelite group on the corner with the same garbs and same thing right here in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. So the only way they could have picked it, it's like hip hop, right? We can use the hip hop analogy. It spreads from there. But you know what? Rob Warren had you just like you screenshotted what Rob Warren said. He had said something like New York is the mecca of this, that, and the other. And so I replied, I said, actually, from what I'm looking at, New York is the source of African historical confusion. They birth all of these doctrines that are not correct, like Hebrews. They've birthed that and spread that throughout the community. That's where it comes from, right?
well, I'm not sure exactly what
I'm
it
talking about
was,
in
but
America. From an American
yeah,
standpoint,
yeah.
they're the ones that have the most knowledge, and then it spreads out from there. And you notice they take pride in that. But what I'm noticing is if you're spreading Hebrew 5% information, Nation of Islam information, you're spreading the wrong history to our people. Y'all are the source of the confusion. Get it?
Mhm.
Well, if we talk about history, yes, it is
You can't
confusing.
have it
You know,
both ways.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and the thing is that, you know, the claim of the Hebrews is that they were the first. You know, so they were like the original. You know, in their theological chronology, which is not historical chronology, because once again, when we look at the seal of Hezekiah, we have two ankhs and a wing disc. You know,
Mhm.
so it's about time for us. Okay, how are we going to roll? You know what I'm saying? And I've been saying for a long time for me, and it wasn't popular back then, you know, because now people listen to me now a little bit more than before. Sanetta invited me. People liked the performance I had. But what I've said on Sanetta, Is really what I've been saying for years, but it was not popular then. And unfortunately, the Amon squad went against me when I was saying the same things. Because this talk about, oh, who is he? He's down in France. Why is he so interested in our affairs? And the thing is going against regarding Sekou, I went through that. I went
Mm,
through that. And
mm.
and I feel so sad to realize that, man, 10 years later, they're still on my stuff. I mean, they're not growing. Those guys are just not growing. Reggie is not growing.
It's tribalism. It's tribalism.
Mm-hmm.
Shock. It's sad to say
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Based on, but see, what's sad about it is it's all based on accents of language. And you know, I talked to a brother from the Ivory Coast, right?
Mm.
And they do that. And see, they didn't even understand when he was. This is so crazy because you have to talk to continental Africans to understand African. It's no one way of getting around it. So when you have a viewpoint from American standpoint, and you ain't talking to the Africans and getting their view and respecting their view, you're being disrespectful. You see what I'm saying? So when I listened, so I had an idea, this fantasy that we were gonna all get together, and so I talked to a brother from Ivory Coast, and then he broke down the lay of the land and told me that Ivory Coast speaks French, but then right next to them they American, and then the next country over there they speak French, and then the next one speaks American, and they discriminate each other and call them a French boy or American boy based on the language that they speak, but they all are kind. They're all the Akan people, but they got fragmented based on these borders. They look the same, but they one of them speaks French and one of them speaks English, and they will, based on their dialect, they'll fight each other. And then watch this: the other fragmentation in northern Africa, right there in that Sahel area, is the northern part of Nigeria is Muslim, and then the southern part of it is Christian. And they will fight each other based on those dynamics as well.
Based on
So
religion,
you
but
got to
at
think
that,
about all of the dynamics from outside influence that has messed up the continent. So when Sekou says, and it was so refreshing to hear him say, "I left Islam," you know how strong
and
he has to be. For his whole tribe is
yeah,
Muslim, and him
yeah,
believe that. Man, they'll disown you behind that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's how serious that is. But for
yeah.
him to take that stance and say, man, this is not right. I gotta leave this because this ain't our true history. They demonize Sekou for doing that.
Yep.
I said,
And
wow.
and yeah, but it's like at this point, and but really, like I've been saying for a long time, non-Abrahamic people will have to get together and progress as a people. Like, if you take, those guys who talk down on Sekou,
Mm-hmm.
if you put them in African clothing, how could you tell the difference? If you take our
Hold on,
brothers from the
Shaka. Let me ask you,
continent,
hold on, before you go any
yes.
further, let me ask you.
Mm.
Does that include atheists in this non-atheist Abrahamic? Because the atheists, they kind of seeming, and I'm not an atheist, but I'm just noticing what the atheists is doing. They're over scientific, however you could say it. They're demonizing African culture based on science. They're saying, like, even though the African culture is science-based, they're saying they're going more heavy on science and disrespecting that culture part of it. You know what I'm saying? From what I'm saying,
Well,
what do you think about that?
well, I don't know about that because you have
Do
scientists.
they? I'm saying, but I'm asking, you include them. You include them in this discussion, the atheist part of it.
No, when I say non-Abrahamic, I mean non-Abrahamic. Now, if some people want to disrespect our culture or tradition, it's not going to fly because Europeans have scientists. Some of them are atheists, but we don't hear them disrespecting the Christian way of life. Because this is their foundation, Greco-Roman foundation with this belief system. This main belief system that is called Christianity / Catholicism. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure you have some people who are from those Muslim countries, and some of them happen not to be Muslims anymore, and they are scientists, and they know better not to diss it because over there it's a bit more direct. You know what I'm saying? It's like direct threats on your life and your family's life. But I mean, I don't know how long it's gonna last for us playing games, but I think we have the big guys on the block, and like I said, I'm not in Sinata's mind. But I think there's going to be some changes soon because Sanada made it clear that he doesn't agree with that stance. You know what I'm saying? And when I was inside of the studios, when Reggie was trying to justify him acting like Sekou cannot speak on the issues that
Mm.
affect African Americans, Saneda said straight up, it sounds like some white folk stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a what is the word he used? Um, a word like division. I forgot. I don't have it exactly the word that he used, but he made it clear,
Stereotype.
doesn't it? Yes, exactly. Thank you. Stereotype. You know.
Hmm.
So I mean, we can do much better than that. You know, we have those large platforms, and we have people who want to listen to something, solid and proper. And I mean, the Hebrew Israelites, they've tried the best they could. You know what I'm saying? And it's only so far they could have got. You know what I'm saying? So now we have the information, we have the tools of communications, we have the artifacts that we can show. We can show the pictures, we can show the video. When you ask the Hebrew Israelites for artifacts, they cannot show us jack. Some
Nothing.
people till this
Nothing.
some people to this day, they think that they can quote the Bible as if it has any relevance with ancient history. And once again, brothers and sisters, just look at the date when your Bible was printed. They don't even understand history. They don't even understand history.
Now
I
we
mean,
need
it's
to do a
that
show.
That's the
sad.
worst part, man.
We need to do a show on the chronology of this little internet consciousness, with the chronology involved, because like we could play like you a master at going back and getting clips, right? But you could just show, like how people used
Clip
to
master.
act. Like I remember, when see this all started with SETI. I mean, that's for me. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
I
see, a
agree.
lot of this
I
stuff
agree.
we got to be real about. SETI kicked all this off.
Yeah,
When he kicked it off, you had people in New York like Rob Warren that was still Nation of Gods and Earth. Maybe I don't know where Garfield was at the time,
it was
but
nowhere
what
to be
he
seen, my brother. I think it was in church
but
singing.
what Sadie did, he enamored the nation. You're right though, Shocky. He wasn't around. I don't know what he was doing. I would love to be the fly on the wall in 2008 when this was going on. What was
He's
he
doing
still a
credit
Hebrew
repair.
back then? No, he might have been a Hebrew. He might have been a Hebrew back then.
Hebrew.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? I don't know what was going on in 2008 with Garfield, but he wasn't on the scene. But when SETI showed up, he enamored the nation, right? And he maybe even reached France, but he enamored the nation with that energy, right? Of Kemet first. And he always venerated Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben, and Ashwa Kwesi. I
And
don't
he still
care
do.
what's going on. He would say those names. Those names led me to study who he was learning this from. See what I'm saying? Just like the ancestors in Kemet said, if you venerate someone's name, you keep them alive. Now, what's crazy about this, if you go back in retrospect, Reggie was the one who attacked SETI for his relationship with Dr. Ben. That's what he did.
yes,
That was his
yes.
angle to get SETI out the way. Is he don't really know Dr.
Wow.
Ben.
Well, it was a
It
group
wasn't
effort.
never really said he
It
know
wasn't.
Dr. Ben. SETI was saying that his no, hold on, listen. SETI was saying that his uncle Pianki knew Dr. Ben. And he studied up under his uncle Pianki. That's all SETI was saying.
No, but he knew
attacked
Dr.
him
Ben.
because he was
He knew.
yeah, he knew Dr. Ben too,
He knew.
but as a
Yeah,
young person, he didn't know him like his uncle Pianki.
yeah, of course. But Reggie trying to just like he's doing with
He
Jabari with the
discredited
Meta
him.
Nature. That's what he's trying to do. It's the same tactic, and it
That's
was
what
a
I'm
group
saying.
effort.
I'm just telling you the
Yeah.
history of it to show you the pattern of what Reggie been doing. We got like I said, we got a record of what you've been doing, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not making this up on Reggie. This is what he
No,
did.
it's true. It's true.
And you
It's
look
true.
at
I
his
agree.
characteristics. You look at what he does today. If you even mention Dr. Ben, if you didn't know him, he don't even want you to say nothing about him. You can't even venerate them in a way of endearment or nothing anymore. Because if you don't know them,
He's gonna say, "Do you
don't
know him?
speak on them."
Have you spoken to him?"
Yeah, that's what he does. But
Yeah, that's
I
played
have
out,
so much
man.
love for Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben that that's disrespectful to me. That's why I got my chronology from. That's how I know my history. It's through Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark, thanks to SETI. You see what I'm saying? But it gets deeper because from Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark, they mentioned Sheikh Anta Diop.
Yeah.
Right? And then I go and find out about him. They mentioned Arthur Schomburg. They mentioned Drusilla Dundee Houston. See what I'm saying? So it's a school of thought that you have to be in. Some people, when you listen to them speak, you can tell that they have not studied. I don't know what Reggie was doing, but I can play a video from Dr. Clark, and he's gonna say totally opposite of what Reggie's saying today.
Reggie's
and I keep reminding Reggie of this. You cannot keep venerate saying things like Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, and you're not following in line with the teaching. It is no way that you're supposed to be saying what you're saying about Sekou publicly, even if you feel like that probably.
There's no justification. I agree. And you know, at this point, I mean, people can try to speak to Reggie, but people have been telling him for a long time. He's just not listening. And it's like sometimes you have to, you know, let go. You have to dissociate yourself. I mean, you know, if it's wrong,
takes public humiliation.
Well, I wouldn't even say that, but
public humiliation is the best medicine.
But he humiliated himself. But he's
I'm talking about from us, as a collective group. If a collective group lets him know that he's wrong.
I mean, every day in the comments, people let him know. He knows, but you know, his hate for Jabari has blinded him. And I'm not going to spend years of my life trying to. I mean, you know, I thought it would come back. I was happy when I was inside of the studios the second time, and I did the Medonet a class, and he said, you know, I'm not begging on Shaka Ndugu today. I'm back to my art. I was glad, and I was cordial with him. But then now I see him doing that BS with Sekou. I'm like, okay, there we go. You know what I'm saying? It's like people can do what they want. I'm not telling people to boycott anybody, but you know, it doesn't take rocket science to know that what he's saying is wrong. We don't fault somebody for their geographic location. It's just messed up. That elitist mentality. I mean, Sekou, man. Sekou handled himself so well, and it was so sad to hear those grown men trying to find something.
But how do we police? How we police ourselves in these type of situations? We don't have any type of law enforcement to get corrective type of behavior done. Only thing we can do is do that through showing either non-support or something like that at this point. Like when you start to go so far to a certain, you know what I'm saying? How do we get them to get back on right in line or something? How do you do that?
I don't think
you keep supporting them. That means that they think they're doing just fine.
Well, you know, if we go
some kind of way, we're gonna have to be able to do something about this.
Well, if you say that, people are gonna feel like, okay, they're trying to boycott me, and apparently, you know, his paper is very dear to him. We saw how angry he was when Jabari said that he was begging for cash app. So you know what I'm saying? But you know, me personally, I'm like, you know, I'm not even listening to the dude no more, and anybody's gonna behave like him. Because, you know, once, twice, you know, but he's been consistent like that. And this is just so horrible for him to. He's the eldest guy in the conversation that we heard. And Sekou is 37.
Oh.
But Sekou sounded like the elder. Sekou sounded like the elder.
Yep.
And I'm like,
Sekou say, that's good. If Sekou 37 and he just woke up, he doing good.
He's doing great.
You know what I'm saying?
And I told Sekou, you should get your YouTube account, upload. You know, he should build his own channel. A lot of people will subscribe and listen to him because he makes a lot of sense. I think the only disagreement I have with Sekou is Kwanzaa. I think that's the only one I have. You know what I'm saying? And
but you know, that's a conversation. You know, but I think that
we spoke about it.
If I talk to him, I think he would understand. You know, it just depends on who talks to him and what points you lay out. Because, like I said, I don't agree with Kwanzaa. I don't agree with Kwanzaa either.
Yeah.
But my reason is why, because we're a much ancient people, and we were celebrating the solstice before they even created Christmas.
But I think he'll get there because, you know, when you celebrate something for years and all of a sudden you found out, I don't even think he read the article. But all of a sudden, you find out that, damn, the guy tortured black women. He plagiarized the Jewish holiday Hanukkah. Plus, he was an informant. And John Henry Clark said that publicly. Thank you, John Henry Clark. Because a lot of people like to say, oh, you know what I'm saying? The dirty laundry, not in public. You know, he spoke
out about the Nation of Islam as well.
about Farrakhan
Public.
talking about, the curse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He
so
did
Dr.
that, but
Clark
not
was a
not.
front line. He was a front line warrior in what
Yeah,
we
but not
needed.
now we have weak dudes. We have weak dudes now. And you see the funny thing with Sekou, they were acting like Sekou was like some sort of outlaw or something. And
Yep.
we have those guys who touch on babies, convicted twice. You don't even
Yep.
hear them criticizing him.
Saying that.
We don't hear them
He said he
criticizing
was an
Farrakhan for saying we're
outlaw.
mark. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like you think Sekou committed a crime? You think
Yeah, that's what I asked. I said, what? I
you
said,
think
how is
you think
Sekou the
you
enemy?
you think Sekou was the one scamming people? They know who was scamming people. I mean, it's just ridiculous at this point, man. It's ridiculous, and I mean, to each his own, man. But there's some things that I cannot rock with. It's just sad, but that's life. And in the struggle, that's what will happen. Some people will disappoint you. Some people will change direction, but we have to keep
Yeah.
going, and that's what's very important. You have to keep going. So Jabari has been doing great. So show him love and support. And also you can learn by yourself. I mean, by yourself. Just try to learn, brothers. Just try to be sharp. We need some people to talk to our people. I cannot talk to everybody. We
Correct.
have several platforms, several channels. But like I said in the video introduction to Kemet, or Kemet in Ma'at, as it is called today, at the end, I say we all have a voice and we might as well use it. You know what I'm saying? You cannot talk about what you don't know. But you know a little some. If you've listened to me, to Smash Rockwell, to Osam Ka, to Jabari, of course, to Chris MVP Harris, then you learn the thing of two. So we should try to gather the troops, gather people who don't want to waste their time with the Abrahamic belief system. We've tried it for a long time. We see where it got us, and it's nothing but confusion. So Kemet was there before. We have the records for Kemet. We know it was a nice and good society. They tried to follow Ma'at the best they could. We are not romanticizing Kemet. This is a talking point that they have because, like I've said to one of them, they are romanticizing the lies of Trackfield. That's what they are doing. The degree, the scamming accusation, not to say the scamming, even the sting operation foolishness that some grown men believed and still trying to push today. And just the horrible so-called scholarship of the dude. I mean, oh my goodness. Oh snap. I mean, I don't want to sound like a hater, man, but the dude is whack, man. I'm sorry to say, and I said it before. The dude is a neophyte. There's levels to this. You don't get a neophyte, but all this was to go against your body. And really, Reggie is a shame because like Mr. Vegas said, Mr. Vegas bad Garfield. For those who don't know, he bad Garfield live on air. He begged Garfield not to go for the debate. He said Reggie should go. You know what I'm saying? But this is a good learning experience.
Wow.
Not everybody.
I don't even think it's nothing to debate anymore. That's where I'm at with it. That's over.
Well,
we need to be trying to figure out what we need to be doing with the information that we already know about. That's basically what you just. That's what you just said.
But we can always
debate. I just simplified it, but that's what you just said. We already know where that's at. Like for us that already done figured out that that's garbage and moved past that, we need to be trying to figure out. Okay, now that we know, and I already done figured it out, Shaka. Because like you said, once you know, then you be like, okay, well now that I know this, what do I do with this information?
What do I
You don't think I sit up night after night and thought about that? So I was like, okay, well, what was the point that we failed at? When they closed down the temples, for me, that closes down your economic system.
Yeah.
Right? You see what I'm saying? That closes down the tax system and everything that you need to run a government or run a system. They closed that down and then they opened their temples up. And look how they're thriving to this day. Look, they're thriving right now. You got the Roman Catholic Church, and just watch it. So I suppose, Sean, okay, now even though we Catholics or whatever, I think that a portion of people tied on Sundays goes into some type of Christian coffer that pays for all of their war chests. So like the Navy, the Air Force of the Europeans, the Catholic Church gives money to that, don't they? To keep that stuff in structure and power. Who keeps the Catholic Church safe? Some type of an army structure, right? Like the British Army, they all are in consolidation with that same Christian thing, right? Even though the Christian church split out from the Catholic church, they're sisters, they family.
Yeah, they're family. They're
They
family.
operate like this. Just think about this. So okay, bam. Then they give the game to the Muslims, and they open up a mosque. See what I'm saying? But all of them are basically Abrahamic, and they work together against Africa.
And
that's what they're doing.
What you're saying is very plain. Who are the tools of our oppression? Now, we're not in chains no more. We're not being flogged and forced to work in the cotton fields, but we know who got us there. So now we have the mental change. And who's pushing that? It's our own who's pushing that. You know?
They on automatic pilot right now. They've already indoctrinated. That's what they call it. They've indoctrinated. So now that the indoctrination is complete, you on autopilot. So I'll go shoot my brother and kill him because I don't see no value in him. And only until I got my history that I see the value in not shooting the warrior that I need to fight them. And see what I'm saying? Why would I kill my brother and I know I'm gonna need him for this fight against my real enemy? See what I'm saying? You don't see the value when you a Christian. You were killing a person with a cross around his neck and shoot me fast. But a person with an unk around his neck is not gonna shoot another brother that quickly if they know what that means. See what I'm saying? I took it back to my own spiritual system, which gave me value to value everybody. Value Queen right here, to value you. Everybody is valuable now. We need each other. That's what Sekou was pushing. We don't need to be separating and fragmenting each other because you in France and you just speak a little. You just got caught. You just got stuck over there. You just speak a little bit different, but I can understand what you're saying. I understand what Sekou is saying.
Yeah, I understand.
That's my brother. We need
that's
him.
Our brother. We need him. Yes. I mean, to me, he's well more valuable than so many of them. And when I said them, I'm being diplomatic. I could name them, but we heard the conversation. But sister, you wanted to add on? Feel free.
Yes, what he was saying, because Sonetta was talking to the Hebrews, and he would, how he put those questions to him. So one day he was asking this brother named Bakwash. He thinks he's a Palestinian. He said, "Wait a minute, if the Most High told you to go into Africa to kill innocent babies, would you do it?" And the brother tried to walk around it. He says, "No, would you do it?" And the brother said, "Yeah, I'd do it because the Hamites are our enemy." And I'm listening to this black man that looks like a West African that thinks he's Palestinian, admitting that if the Most High God told him to go into Africa and kill innocent African babies, I've heard that twice. He's done that twice. And these Hebrews finally break down and they admit, well, the Hamite is our enemy. Yeah, I'll go in and I will kill innocent black baby.
And for those who don't know, Hamites is a term that they use for Africans. They might include other people, but they use that for Africans. Maybe not all Hebrew Israelites, but many of them do. And we have Saneda who was talking with Baba Heru, and Saneda asked Baba Heru about those Hebrew Israelites celebrating the death of Africans, and he mentioned ISUPK. So Captain Tazariak, is everybody's friend, but Captain Tazariak is the one who said to that child that he would not feed him because he's part African. One of his parents is African, the other one is African American, and he told the child he would not feed him. But ISUPK, according to what Saneda say, they celebrate the death of Africans, and I think it has something to do with Easter, one of those Christians or Jewish celebration. The Passover, I think it is.
Passover, right.
Well, actually, the Passover might be Easter. It might be like the Jewish version of Easter, or Easter might be the Christian version of Passover. But don't quote me on that. But they are celebrating the death of Africans. Yeah. So at this point, what are we doing, wasting our time talking with people like that?
That was a beautiful breakdown by Sanetta too. When he made that analogy that's what they're celebrating, because the Egyptians are Africans. We get as a history, we get confused right there. Because see, that Egyptian word is kind of confusing. Because when you go look at the 10 Commandments on Easter on Sunday, don't be no black people represented as no Egyptian. See, that's how far the indoctrination goes back. See, I wonder, do they show that in France on Easter? Do y'all have Easter in France?
Oh, Easter, I think it's everywhere in the world.
Okay,
Maybe not in
bam.
Saudi
Okay, I'm just trying to
Arabia.
make sure.
Yeah.
Do they show
Yeah.
the Charles? Is that Charles the Heston Queen? Did they show every Easter?
The 12 child, the
And
12 child.
Hero Branner, what is his name? They show that every Easter, right?
Well, the
Ten
12.
Commandments.
Are you talking about the 12 tribe chart?
No, the movie that they showed, they indoctrinated with us, Shaka. See, I'm trying to find out if you got indoctrinated too. That's what I'm trying to ask you. Every Easter here in America, they show this movie with Charlton Heston, Hugh
the
Branner.
Well,
Commandments.
the 10 Commandments. I mean, I don't know if they played every Easter, but they play
Yeah, they
every
do
now and
here
then.
in America. That's what I'm trying
It's
to
in
tell
our
you.
mind, the sea opening in two. It's in our mind, but
Yeah, but
then
see, this is what I'm saying. This is how the indoctrination happened to us. Because when they
Yeah.
showed us the Egyptians back since I was a child, they've always been Europeans, Shaka.
Yeah, but then we grow up and then we learn, and I've been showing many depictions.
No,
Other
not a
people have
lot of
shown
us don't
depictions.
learn, Shaka. We just
Yeah,
learn
but
now.
but you see, the Maroons were a minority. We should not wait for all of our people to be on board. We just have to act. But the thing is that you see, those guys are celebrating the death of Africans. We have seen Far Muhammad, who is clearly a Caucasian person, and they're saying that he is biracial, that he is mixed race, that his father is jet black. The Hebrews were like ISUPK. They have this guy, Shatta to Zayak's, like almost his right hand man, and we can clearly see that he's Caucasoid. So they will celebrate the death of African. They will have a Caucasoid by their side because some of these people in the Caribbean, what I'm
Shaka,
saying.
you wild, man. You is out of control.
What does he look African to you?
Saying you right. No, I'm just laughing at
I'm just
looking like, yo, what's wrong with them? You looking at the Takazai guy. You're like, man, what's wrong with these guys? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they're gonna say
like they don't see he's not black.
His grandfather is black or something. It's always like that. But when I look at him, he looks Caucasoid. So
I don't believe that.
The people who look, I don't even believe it either. But who knows? He will put up something. He will put up some DNA. He will put up some picture. He's gonna say, "There's my granddaddy. He looks like James Brown." But the thing is that people who look like them. You put the ISUPK members and you dress them in an African garment, and then how are you going to make the difference unless they speak and you hear their accent? How are you going to make the difference between many people in Africa? I have that dude who hardcore who never wants to show his face. That guy is like we're talking about phenotypes and stuff like that. And I'm telling people like he's like what does an African look like? I say like Michael Jordan, like Tyrese. Like what's the name? The actor, Giles is Ludacris, and the guy is trying to act like, oh no, they look different. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? And this is like the 12 tribe chart type of dude, the indigenous Native American type of dude. I mean, really, it's sad to say, but really, the conscious community is mainly just confused people.
That's what I was trying to tell you, Shaka. We need to clean house and like Sekou said, have a conference and gone on and weed out what we want to weed out. Like people that be saying that people that's not black is black, we need to get them up out of there.
Yeah.
We got to get them up out of there, Shaka, quick.
Get them.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
And remember that guy Tahaka Bey, who is a Moor. I think he's a Temple Moor because there are people who are not Temple Moors. The guy said that Saddam Hussein was melanated. He said that Osama bin Laden was melanated. And for those who don't know, melanated is another way to say black because they don't like to use the term black because of their doctrine, of their ideology. And once again, Kaaba or Booker T. Coleman, as he was called before, he stated in his own lecture that Saddam Hussein was an African man.
Oh my God!
Is that lecture where he's talking about the Moors? I think he's dressed in yellow. But I don't mean to disrespect the brother because he
has a lot of good information.
Yeah. But with all
It's
due
just
respect,
one
that was a
thing you
mistake.
disagree on.
Well, it's not that I disagree. It's that he's wrong. Unless
Yes,
somebody
correct.
else want to tell me
Yeah,
that Muhammad
yeah.
was an African, he
And I'm
was
gonna
wrong
agree
on that.
with you, Shaka. He's
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah. So maybe he will not just touch on that, but
You know,
for the record, and but that helps other people to make similar claims.
hold up, Shaka. But see, that's another thing that we dealing with. We can't identify who's an African anymore. It's gotten to that point.
It's got to that point. Some people say, "Well, we're all different from Africa anyway."
But hold up, but see, this is what I'm saying. This is how I try to corner the market on that. Is that we have African DNA.
Mm-hmm.
It's a such thing as African DNA, isn't it?
They don't believe in that. They don't believe in DNA. They don't believe in haplogroups. They don't believe in genetics. All they want to do is talk about the Bible, and the Spirit has guided them in Deuteronomy 28. And the pretendians, all they care about is family tree and genealogy. They won't take a DNA test to back up. This is 2023. Now we have genetics to back up genealogy. They won't do it because they know they asses, they're going right back to West Africa. It's just
that's right.
They know sister, thank you for saying that. If they take a DNA, it's going to be like Pan-African genes. It's going to be like 90%, 80% West Africa or just Africa. And it's not going to look good for them.
They don't want to do that.
But the funny thing is that when they know that they're saying something that is wrong, not long ago I played those GMS people, those Hebrew Israelites who say that it's okay to snatch a woman and rape her because it's in the scriptures. And Polite was asking him about the fish. You know what I'm saying? Because when he says a whale, it says it's a fish. And like I said, when he asked them, "Do you believe that?" Two of them were laughing. They know they don't believe in it, but they have to say they believe in it because it's the word of God according to them. You know what I'm saying? But do we value our stuff? We have so much writings. Do we even value it? Those guys don't have anything to show but some credit card size fragments. You know what I'm saying? And they value that. And we have whole text on walls, on papyri. Do we value it? Do we always wait for people to have value on Kemet, to add value to Kemet for us to value it? We have to be thorough. We have to be strong. We should not be weak. Those guys are weak. The Asiatic black men are weak. They've been weak. Their God is white. They talk that black talk, but their God is white.
Yes.
And besides, what do they say when they talk about Africans? I showed you what they say. I mean, we've heard what Farrakhan said. They would not even allow an African to marry the ladies from America. Natural hair is a disease carrier and a disease catcher. And when he tried to defend the way he spoke, not his stance, but the way he spoke when he was talking with Tabaruka, he said, this is a bush. That's what he said. And people missing all of that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, at this point, man, it's just I mean, we can do better. We really can do better. But we should not be groupies. We should not be groupies. Wrong is wrong. Wrong is wrong. So I'm encouraging you, brothers and sisters, what I'm saying, be strong. I'm not asking you, and I'm not expecting you to attack people, to disrespect people, or to fight people. But come on now. The things we've been hearing lately, you know what I'm saying? The female cat and his crew, they've been defeated. They're on
this
life.
It's gonna have to be a fight though, Shaka, because when you go on certain I'm just saying you just said we're gonna have to be warriors and be strong and all this. Now you saying we don't need to be doing no fight,
bro.
That just comes with the territory. We're gonna have to fight for this, Shaka. That's what it is.
That's the clip they're gonna use. Say, look, you see, they want to beat us up.
No. You have to defend yourself because you got to understand. You know this. We are in the minority with this information. The Christians, the Hebrews, the numbers are way bigger than the numbers that people are trying.
It's true. It's true.
So that's what I'm saying. So we have to fight. We have to. We don't have no choice.
No, we don't have to fight because truth will overcome.
Yeah. I'm definitely talking about in the scholastic way. I'm not talking about anything being malicious towards anyone or nothing like that. I'm talking about if someone says
I was talking about
that the Canaanites came before. Yeah, if somebody say that the Sumerians came before the Egyptians, I'm talking about bringing up scholarship that can show our points of, you know what I'm saying? Maybe why we would refute that.
Even if they came before, it doesn't bother me. I don't believe it, but it doesn't bother me. It really
Correct.
doesn't bother me. That's their thing. You know what I'm saying? You mentioned the Vatican is the smallest state in the world. It's even smaller than the city. It's like a neighborhood. And it's a country, it's a state.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But we know where the paper is coming from. You know what I'm saying? So there's so much we can do. I mean, we already have an international superstar, a dancehall legend, Mr. Vegas, who's showing us love. So, with the guys that we've been hearing, which celebrity is gonna want to, be even near us? You know what I'm saying? So I guess there's a saying we have to clean our acts. And it's just that simple, man. We just have to be thorough. Right now, it's like it's just sad, but it is what it is. Some people will ultimately never change. Some people grow, some people don't grow. Some people
Some people regret.
some people, yeah, some people regress. Some people are old, they
Crazy.
don't have wisdom. They don't have wisdom. And some people have a track record for doing foul stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because you mentioned SETI, right? And despite the hate and the jealousy towards SETI, and SETI's mouth is filthy. Now we heard how somebody is talking, but to go against him to give information to the Hebrew camp, you know what I'm saying?
That was
And
done.
after
That was
all that,
done.
and now rolling with a Christian apologist. So that's how we get down now. Even the God killer, the
That's what
God
I said.
killer,
If we went
the
through the history of the
atheist.
Shaka,
How you an atheist and you roll with a Christian apologist? But people have the right to. People are free. They have free speech. So all I'm saying to our people, what I'm saying, do what you want to do, but I will not accept falsehood, and I will not accept friendship scholarship. I would not accept that, because some guys are like, oh, that's my buddy. That's my buddy. Yeah, but your buddy is saying foolishness. You know what I'm saying? So
mhm.
you can, be buddy with him, but don't bring the foolishness of your buddy, please.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how we get down. But anyway, I'm gonna let you make your closing remarks, because I want to go through the comments after that, and there's about 72 comments now. So I'm gonna let Pan African James, and then I'm gonna let the sister. So please feel free, Pan African James, to make
No,
your
she can
closing
she
remarks.
can go first. Ladies first. I
No,
mean,
no.
I'm
Well,
not.
I want to do ladies last, and so she has the last word. So go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't really have much to say. I mean, it's just like I said, disturbed me what I seen with Sekou. Um, and like you said, the friendship scholarship that you've just coined that's going on in our community. We need to keep the chronology of our history as the focal point of what we're trying to do here. It's not about if I'm an Egyptian or nothing like that. It's not about the disrespect of West Africa. It's about us getting African orientation. And this is not something that James is so brilliantly saying. I've learned this from elders, Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben, and I'm just regurgitating what the mission is. So with that said, I'm out, brother. And peace to you, Quinn. It was nice meeting you.
Oh, you too. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Thank you, Pan African James.
Uh-huh.
Now, sister Kimberly, please feel free to make your closing remarks.
Closing, I just want to say, when I saw that, what they did with Sekou, didn't they curse at him? Didn't he say, take your A back to Africa? Okay, when I heard that, I'm like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. We hate ourselves. We hate Africa, hate being African. Now we're attacking him. I wanted to cry when I heard that. Then when I saw the other video of the whole panel up against him, this it's like they're agents. I think they're working with certain people to make sure that Africans and continental Africans never get together. Okay. I think the pretendians are a part of it. I think these fake Black Hebrews are a part of it, and now this stuff with the other one. So I just think, leave them people alone. Get away from them. That's how I feel about it. That's all I need. That's all I feel like I need to say right now.
Well, I feel like you, sister. I feel like you. Okay, that's the way to get down. Okay, I don't get down like that. Like that. Let them do their thing. I'm gonna do my thing, man. Because, at this point, man. But thank you very much, sister. And it's a good
Thank
message for
you.
Sekou once again. I was hesitant, but in a way, I didn't want to put the title too much about those guys. But if Sekou happens to hear that, he can see that so many people are appalled, are
Yeah.
disturbed by what they've heard. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Actually,
Right.
Pan African James was the first one to apologize when he was told go back to Africa. And other brothers also say, I apologize on behalf of my kind. You know what I'm saying? And Sekou, stay strong. You have our appreciation and our love, and what is going on is wrong. And I disagree with that. I actually kind of went through that before, but I don't want to make this about me. You stood your ground, you moonwalked on them. Get your channel, brother. Build your channel. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people love hearing you. They love
Yeah.
listening to you. Get your own platform. It's important. You never know how far it can take you, and I think
Yeah.
it could take you very far. But we don't support that talk. We're
Nope.
down with our people
No.
worldwide as long as they are down with us. You know.
Yep.
So, thank you very much, Sister Kimberly,
All right. Thank you.
and
I'm out.
okay. So now, brothers and sisters, I'm just going to go through the comments. There's 78 comments, so I might skip a few, but I really do appreciate the participation. So let's deal with this now. So we were here. So where was I? Daddy Williams got jokes. He wrote, "Her internet is not right with the gods." I think it's the Christian part. The Christians, they are doing their incantations, yeah, incantation. Anyway, it's just so. Yeah, you have to pay $1,800 to see a degree, and those guys in here giving a hard time to Sekou, but they are sitting next to a fraud who's sending an invoice for $1,800, but they act like it didn't happen, like we don't have the receipt. Kimberly is right. He's asking, just out of curiosity, I will try. Okay, okay. Okay, yeah, there's a storm. Oh, he was just joking, sister. She was what is meant by my internet is not right with the gods. It's just a joke, sister. Yeah. V. Bennett wrote, why don't they prove their own ethnicity? If ethnicity is an issue, then the people who think it's an issue should prove their own ethnicity. Jackie is in a place to be as well. Kinetic energy wrote they're resurrecting the Sumer before Egypt narrative, and Ngozi buried Zion Lex on topic. 2 years later, he debating Jabari on same subject. Kevin wrote, it was a racist attack coming from a black man to another. Dr. Ben will be ashamed of him. He said he knows Dr. Clark. Didn't he hear Dr. Clark say the boat just dropped us off different places? Andrea Brunet is in the place to be. If he Bennett is very focused on the Reggie's background, I don't know why. Now, we have our young brother Jason Edwards, Hotep. He wrote Hotep had Neb. Danny Williams wrote Pan African James is officially out of the go along, get along gang as we speak. V. Bennett wrote Reggie hates Sekou because of his background, and he's beating up on Sekou because of his own secret of not being a. What's going on, V. Bennett? Like, I'm not aware of that secret. If you have any insight, I mean, you're free, but the only reason you would attack Sekou is because something and right about your own background, insecurity in their own ethnicity. V. Bennett wrote, Reggie is having an identity crisis. Mega Rule wrote, it was horrible. It was a horrible display of anti-Africanism. I felt so embarrassed. Unc was coming from a bad place. As for Reggie, he is suffering from inferiority complex. He desires recognition too badly. You know, the thing is that Reggie had the recognition for years. It just happened to take different paths that were quite surprising. But Reggie has he been had that recognition, but because of his ways, his statements, his behavior, people are giving him less recognition than they used to. V. Bennett wrote, they have nothing to stand on, so they try to attack those that do. Mega Rude Boy wrote, this is all about jealousy of Jabari, on Garfield and Reggie. I mean, we can smell his jealousy, it's no doubt. Sekou embarrassed the entire gang. He was far superior in his train of thought. Sekou was indeed far superior. Sekou carried himself so well. Sekou let them know he'd been up against way tougher guys than him, and then they were surprised. Thank you, Mega Rude Boy 007. Actually, I'm gonna share the links for those who feel generous. But thank you very much for this super chat / super sticker. There we go. So he wrote, this was like elementary students attacking the new kid because he didn't have new sneakers. So embarrassing. The thing is, the kid showed superior intelligence, all about Jabari, and shut up Sekou. V. Bennett wrote, those guys support white supremacist ideology. I mean, can we disagree with that statement? Now, welcome to Christian Ellis, who became a new member. I appreciate that. For those who don't know, if you want to become a member of the channel, which will allow you to participate in the chat, then here is the link. It's $3 a month. That's $36 per year. You can stop at any time, and I don't know any contact info. All of this is handled by YouTube. So Christian wrote, peace, everybody. And Christian was asking if it was a Q&A. Do I ask you to join the panel? Well, Christian Ellis, because you are new, just in case you don't know, as I'm going through the comments, if you want to get on the panel, link to get on the panel. But there's one thing people might not be aware of, is that I require that people show their face when they get on the panel. So if somebody's not comfortable with that, then I understand. You can keep it on the chat. But if you have no problem showing your face, then you are welcome on the panel, Christian Ellis. Now, in a real organization, you are made to make your books public. These people won't show you their books, so you don't know what behind their acts and words. Well, Shanji in the place to be, Hotep fam. Mega Rude Boy wrote, that's Ankh and Cube, who are atheists who learn on science, but there is no group that were more scientific than Commissions. Michelle Grant is saying, Shaka, who and what are you talking about? Sometimes I don't want to say people's names. Shanji is asking, was this the show from 2 weeks ago? Oh, no, not 2 weeks ago. We're talking about, let me share the link for those who haven't seen it. It was inside. Well, actually, there's a, hold on, where's the video? Live. There it is. Now, I'm going to put my own title, but on Silent the Studio, that was a day ago. A bit less than 48 hours ago. Zion Lex versus Jabari Osase, Thursday, 8 p.m. So apparently it's going to be tomorrow. But here I'm typing Sekou giving the xenophobic dudes Sekou giving all xenophobic dudes a piece of the action. That's very recent. And it was so wrong, man. So wrong. You know, if I ever hear Sekou is no longer in the struggle, I won't even be mad at him. You know, but he's strong, you know, and so far he's continuing. He got disrespected just because of where he was born. So messed up, man. We had some white people on the on side of this platform. We never heard so much um vilifying, so much opposition. I mean, at this point, it's becoming a sickness, man. And they are trying to justify it and normalize it. Mega Road Boy Road, we need to speak more publicly against Abrahamic to say it's not for people of African descent. Well, we could word it another way. We need to speak more publicly about facts, what is attested historically. Michelle wrote Catholic Church has their own Vatican police slash protection with Vatican City. Rude Boy wrote powerful African James. Michelle wrote supported by Catholics worldwide plus tax concessions from government. Nikki Willie is in the place to be. V. Bennett wrote if Africans kill each other, no one else has to kill themselves. Far Mohammed, way more mixed than regular mix. Nikki Willie wrote they're showing the Mel Gibson movie now at Easter time. It's called The Passion of the Christ. Wab Funk wrote the Pakistani actually gave birth to Mentu Son wrote that Kaaba has a white wife. I think he tried to write wife. Looks like it's an E instead of the W. Well, actually, yeah, he confirmed that. I didn't know that, but you know, I'm not gonna fault him for his spouse. You know, it's like it is what it is. Some people will be surprised, but you know, that's what it is. You know, Diop had a white wife. Kwame Nkrumah had a white wife. So hey, it is what it is. Karenga has a white wife. A lot of people don't know that. John Henry Clark spoke on that publicly. So we have Amumin Ra Sut Atum in a place to be. Big T wrote one question, bro. Shaka or Pana. Herodotus wrote that there were Ethiopian tribes all around Kemet and that Kemet was a colony of Ethiopia. What's he referring to? Kush? I don't really know. He did not really get into specifics, so it'll be difficult to say. And with Reggie, it's going to be something like Hasidic Jewish back. Okay, okay. Our brother Vibene is very motivated about Reggie's background. Wab Funk wrote, actually, father Pakistani Ahmadiyya Muslim. Well, I, I I think it's an indication that he might have been at one point with the Ahmadiyya Muslim. But anyway, a lot of you brothers and sisters probably don't know what the Ahmadiyya Muslims are. But anyway, actually influenced Drew Ali as well, who he met when they were both working in the circus. Actually, Rabon and the other brother, True Storian, they made a video about Drew Ali. I think I shared it back then. Oh my goodness. Eating nails and all this stuff, you know, I mean, magic and fanciful claims. Like, man, we have good fella Nella. Nikki wrote, true, what they did to Sekou hurt me to the core. They are bullies. Goodfella Nella says he's going to watch this tomorrow at work. And me and Ra wrote it needs to stop. Chanji Kembro Dua Shakandugu. Oh, that's it. I went through all the comments. We have 30 people online. You can see that the channel is growing. Sometimes a separation because of issue occurred, and sometimes it's just naturally you just outgrow people. And now we're seeing something strange, but it's not unique. It's not the first time. They're gonna have plenty of people to allow themselves with. They're gonna have a nice team, a nicer team than the female cat team, which was a disaster. A real disaster, man. Stay safe, stay healthy, and if I'm allowed to by the nature, I will definitely holler back at you. I don't argue, I state facts. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Do I to do a Nicheru Hotel.
Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving Medu Nature classes. And here, that's the flyer. Okay? So, those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video, Kemet and Ma'at, Before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had, ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody's interested in learning the Meta Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome, awesome, awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Nature classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class, and all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu Neter class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/ma'atforever.